Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 4 of It's All Geek to Me, the pop culture chat show where three friends with varying degrees of nerd knowledge get together to have a chat about all things geek once a week. Introducing tonight is my co-host. Please give it up for Mr. Chris Lumb.
Hello.
Hello, Lummy. How are you doing this week? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, my friend. Yes, good.
Did you have a good one? Did you get good parties?
Oh, loads of parties, yeah. Do you know, I didn't actually. I turned them all down. I was just like, there's too many parties.
Yeah, too busy. I'm too busy watching Star Wars. And introducing our other best friend and co-geek, please give it up for Nathan Webb. Hey, all right, Webby.
Hey, thought I'd have a go at jazz hands. It's been a while since I jazz handed anything.
That was so showbiz. That was so showbiz. That
I'm telling you, you just can't. I can't fight it. It just comes out of me naturally.
Happy New Year, Webby. How was your New Year's Eve? Did you get up to much?
Yeah, it was all right, man. We made up for Christmas Day when we were absolutely knackered and we didn't have a single drink, and we had some alcoholic beers and beverages.
Oh, fantastic.
Things got a bit silly. We're just obviously just us two. Oh, we did because we got a kid. So you know the reality is, still got to get up and stuff and deal with that. So yeah, it was good fun. It was good fun. We had a really good laugh.
So how are hangovers? Like when you do have sort of let your hair down on an evening. I mean, obviously, I got a dog. He still needs to go out for a walk at sort of 8:30 in the morning, and that's part of his routine. You've got a kid who gets up at a certain time. How are those hangovers, and how do you deal with that between you and your partner?
You just don't get too drunk, and then you don't have a massive hangover. You know what I mean?
Right. So you've always got an eye on the next morning when you're.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, you do. You definitely do. I mean, that's why we don't drink much at all. Like, it's just not worth it. He's got so much energy, and from the moment he wakes up, he doesn't shut up. He's just loud and chatty. He doesn't. He's just loud. He's like this morning. He was running around being an ambulance at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Brilliant.
Stomping around the house. So yeah. I mean, maybe we got it the wrong way around. Maybe we should get him drunk.
Sounds like he already is.
I was going to say it sounds like he is drunk.
Yeah, maybe so.
Hey, at least he's thinking about the NHS though, running around like an ambulance. That's good of him. That.
Absolutely. I was going to be outside on Thursday night, giving him a round of applause with all my neighbours rattling the tin pans.
You know what doesn't happen when you say to a kid, like, you have to say it 50 million times a day, but careful, you're going to hurt yourself. Careful, you're going to smash your face. Careful, be careful. And he don't believe you. He just don't believe you. He won't believe you. Honestly, I think, I hate to say it, but, you know, he's going to have to smash his face just to learn. And, you know, just because it's
booby traps for him.
Yeah.
He's going to say, I was right.
Honestly, his favourite thing at the minute is jumping in the air on the couch and landing on his butt, which is all well and good. We've all done it. We've all been there. But I want to be the one who says, dude, just as a heads up, don't put your tongue too far forward because it hurts when you're back. You know what I mean? So I'm waiting for the time when he accidentally chomps his own tongue off.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to parenting advice on.
I remember when I was at school, me and a bunch of friends used to get together and just kind of play whatever make-believe around whatever film we were watching at the time, like Batman and Ghostbusters and things like that. And it always involved climbing a tree, swinging out on a branch and just dropping down. And we used to get to school early just so we could do this before school started. And my mate, Tom Howarth, shout out to Tom if you're watching this. Probably not.
Tom Hanks. Hi, Tom Hanks.
Shout out to Tom Holland.
Tom and Tom Allen. Tom was hanging out on the tree and he dropped, let go. And as he landed, he on his tongue and bit straight through his tongue. Ooh. And it was like dangling from a bit of tongue skin. And it's having to go stitched back together.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
Yeah, that was disgusting. So we've got we slightly fresh look on the show moving forwards because The Mandalorian has now finished. We're going to be, as we said last week, looking at a different geeky film each week. This week's film is going to be The Phantom Menace.
Why?
Yeah, great idea, Nathan. But we're going to be looking at towards the end of the show. Our first segment, as always, is going to be Geek News. Gentlemen, what is going on in the world of geek this week? Fantastic. Nothing. Brilliant.
we got a couple of comments actually, Rich. I'll just bring up if you want a quick have a
Hey,
look.
Roberto. How you doing, mate? Happy New Year, Roberto.
King of
Happy New
Pain.
Year. Don't know what he's on about.
Hope we solve your mug problem.
It's right there. There you are.
He's embraced the mug, guys. Don't worry. He's embraced it.
Absolutely. I was going to actually drink out of it tonight, but I felt sorry for the Stay Puft Marshmallow mug. So
we've got just a few here for you as well. There we go.
Happy New Year, Pop Rock. How are you doing? Thanks for being a part of the show last week. So what is that behind you you've got there? Because you've changed locations, Chris.
I have. I've got that's my Millennium Falcon. That's my Kenner Millennium Falcon, my old classic there.
Oh.
It makes it look like it's the Lego one, which I'll never be able to get.
You might, big guy. One day. Just get
Lego's
one of them.
watching. Send us all one.
Oh yeah, Lego. Please do. Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll build it on. We'll build it live if you send us one Lego, and we'll go. This is amazing.
That would be amazing. Has anyone got a room big enough for us to build it in?
Yeah, we'll build it out. We'll do an outdoor build.
Move some furniture out.
I'd empty the entire room for that. Just throw it out that window.
Yeah, just no furniture at all. Just a nice white, clean.
So Lego,
space.
yeah.
No, well, I was just going to say, Lummy's been allowed inside this week, guys, because everybody felt sorry for him sitting out there in the cold like Jack Torrance at the end of The Shining. Icicle.
was freezing. I'm warm time. I'm like, getting a bit.
It's going to be too hot. It's going to be too hot now. Watch, you'll get sweat on halfway through. Keep your eyes on. Keep your eyes on him.
So we find out he dyes his hair and he's got little beads of black.
We'll have to get one of them towels. We'll have to get a sweat towel like one of them preachers in Louisiana.
It'll be like, what about this? Here's a geek reference for you. What about if, like, the Joker, I start mopping my brow and there's just like white underneath?
That'd be brilliant.
That's one of the cleverest techniques in a film ever, isn't it? When he puts the white on, it's clever. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah,
that's a great film. That is a film that we're going to have to go through the Batman series.
Hello, Andrew Shaw. You're only fan. We got loads of fans, you cheeky bugger.
Yeah, man.
Wait, no. No, I subscribe to Andrew's OnlyFans account. That's all. We just send pictures.
Is it him with his shirt off?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
You pay extra for that.
Happy New Year, Andrew. Happy New Year, everybody, as well. So, what is going on in the world of geek? Well, first of all, I know that I don't know if any of you have either of you seen any of the latest series of Cobra Kai yet? Just came out on Netflix.
Not yet.
It literally came out yesterday. No, man. I've got a 3-year-old.
I've watched 5 episodes of it. It's brilliant. It's really, really good.
I'm looking forward to it. It looks all right. It was such good fun. It was such good fun. The whole series so far has been all right, laugh.
There's no spoilers at all, but Johnny's character just gets better and better. I was properly guffawing at him last night. It's really good. It's brilliant. It's such a well show.
It is quite a quiet week in the world of news, but there is also things we could touch on that we've already started. How are you guys getting on with Happy?
I am halfway through season 2. Yeah, so I finished season 1. I'm halfway through season 2, which is it's good. It's good. It doesn't have the pace. It doesn't have the pace that season 1 had. It's slightly more difficult, or maybe that's just I went to season 1 and I'm a little bit less eager to kind of consume it.
But I think also knowing it's a finite thing and it ends at the end of season 2, you become like not in a rush to get to the end, don't you? Because
it's also. I mean, Nathan, you know that I'm just a whore I'm just a vacuum for TV shows. I will just consume them, and I don't care who I'm watching it with. I mean, me and you watch Game of Thrones together, but
until you started cheating on me and watching episodes without me behind my back, and thought I wouldn't find out, and guess what? I did.
Yeah, your girlfriend told you. Cheers.
Yeah.
But me and my girlfriend have started watching Happy together and Cobra Kai. So it's really weird because I really want to binge all these shows now, but I have to wait. I can only watch them once a week. So I'm finding that a little bit frustrating. Trying to be a good boyfriend. You had some news about about the Mandalorian and Jeremy Bullock, Nathan.
Oh yeah, I just learned. I mean, first of all, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a blooper, quite a big gaff in one of the episodes where you could see a guy with a boom mic standing in the back. Well, they went back and got rid of him. did Disney find him out of that thing? They sucked him right out of the thing.
They just
Really. So it's only been up for a few weeks.
The guy who.
No, they just digitally removed him really, really quickly. So they've also apparently gone back and dedicated that final episode of.
They de-aged
Mandalorian.
him. Like an embryo. That's why you can't see him now.
He stuck a stormtrooper helmet over his head. It looked okay. But they've gone back and put a dedication to Jeremy Bulloch on the final episode of The Mandalorian, which I thought was really sweet. Nice. Just to acknowledge him. So yeah, it's interesting. We live in a world where you can just go straight back into something that's brand new and tweak it and fix little bits that people aren't happy with.
There was something else a while ago, and I can't remember what it was, but there was a Starbucks coffee cup. It might have been in The Walking Dead, I think.
No, that was the Game of Thrones, wasn't it?
Game of Thrones, that was it. Yeah. They went and digitally removed that. So it's amazing what they can do. It's fantastic.
You can't believe though that stuff like that happens, can you? The amount of money they throw these things.
Man. And
the amount of people on set as well watching them filming. You think somebody go, "Is that a Starbucks cup?"
But there are literally people whose job. There is a team of people. They're continuity people. That's their job, is to make sure that everything is the same in each take. So people are seriously dropping balls.
One of the funniest things I saw. Some people were doing mock-up action figures of the guy. Did you see them?
Oh yeah, I see them. Yeah, that's the kind of thing you used to do. Back in the day when we worked at the Odeon, before even like technology, before decent technology, Lummy would make Star Wars figures of all the people that worked at the Odeon, and you were the cleaner and everybody. You were the cleaner. The time on your hands.
The cleaners was a box set. And you got the top foyer with it. I'll have to try and I'll find them for next time if I've still got any of them. I don't know if I have. I'll get the images for next time and show you.
They were really brilliant.
Proper boxed up, you know.
Yeah, they were. Did you actually make them, or were they just?
No, just pictures.
He got
sitting there mocking you. Yeah. Custom figures, remolding Han Solo into Kath Noon.
Oh, Kath Noon. That's her second mention on this show. That's amazing.
Kath Noon
is a legend in her lunchtime.
Legend to us, but nobody who's watching they'll be.
Kath Noon is the name of somebody that just sounds like a lovely human being. She sounds like a nice, jolly person. She was lovely. Lovely.
Nice,
You had another bit of geek news this week, also relating to Star Wars and one of the guys who has been writing.
Oh yeah, there were a big loss. In fact, a lot of the Star Wars authors had a bit of a thing this week, saying they're going to sue Lucasfilm for rights that should have been paid for novels.
Disney.
Disney. Since the buyout, since Disney bought Lucasfilm and everything with it, they've not been paying the writers apparently, who've written all these books and things. So
going to be getting some fat cash from that, I reckon. So one of the main guys. He's a big movie adaptation guy. He's done loads and loads. He's done pretty much every Star Wars film that's ever come out, and Aliens, loads of them in the 80s. A guy called Alan Dean Foster is the guy that reckons he's been ripped off the mostest out of all of them. It's like, no. So yeah, he's after his money, which is fair enough, right? I don't know why he's waited 6 years.
So he's either going to get a massive pay packet, or he's going to be disappeared.
Yeah, just like the guy in the background in Mandalorian. He's going to digitally rub him out.
Disney-peered. We'll call it that from now on.
Yeah,
Disney-peered.
Disappeared.
Any more geek news, gentlemen, this week?
I
mean, with the turn of the new year and things like that, I think generally things tend to slow down and they'll be picking up pace over the next few weeks.
Also, you got to realise that what's happened to us over the past couple of weeks doesn't happen every week, where you find out that everything's getting made. You know what I mean? So, they've dropped a load of us on there. So much so, I'm not even entirely sure if we went through it all with a fine-tooth comb, we might have missed one or two. But we'll pick up on those as things develop with them, because we're still getting trailers slowly released. I think from what I can remember, WandaVision and Loki and a couple of
WandaVision is going to be the first one out, isn't it?
They're ready to go pretty much. Loki's coming in March, I think, and so as things pop up, we'll keep talking about it.
I mean, I think WandaVision is literally in the next week or two.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a biggie. I can't make head and tail of it from the advert.
But it's not one that I'm really looking forward to.
I don't know what it is. I can't tell from watching it. So yeah,
I think it's all the multiverse stuff in it they're bringing into it. It's all different multiverse versions of them two together, their life together. That's what I think, but I don't know. I haven't looked too much.
I mean, there's been a little bit of Spider-Man news as well this week, but only like little bits. Basically, I think they're on set filming, so they've released a couple of pictures from on set, and also this rumor that Andrew Garfield, the previous Spider-Man to Tom Holland, and Tobey Maguire, the previous Spider-Man, are somehow going to be in Spider-Man 3 in a multiverse scenario, a la of Spider-Verse, that sort of thing, into the Spider-Verse. That's beautiful.
Awesome.
I just thought I'd illustrate as you're talking about Spider-Man. I thought, I've got my little Spider-Man. I love these.
There were a way to pull pictures from the internet and show them on screen.
I like these little Marvel pocketbooks. These little advert for them.
What's in them?
It's a little story, but they're like pocketbooks, a smaller size. I always were a fan of these, so I've got a couple.
How old is that?
Oh, it's really old. It were 15 pence, so that'll give you an idea.
Wow, it looks incredibly good condition.
1980.
Blimey.
Lummy, that is in really good nick.
Oh, well, one.
Because I can't read.
Still learning. Oh, you'll
still learning. So I'll learn.
I believe in you.
Okay, well, that is it for the Geek News this week. We'll be back with more Geek News next week. And next up, we have...
Bye!
Next up we have Chris Lumb's segment, and what are you bringing to the table for us this week, Chris?
Yeah, Chris Lumb.
Chris
right,
Lumb.
okay.
Naming each other. Chris Lumb, what are you doing?
I nearly introduced you as Curly Lumb, actually, because I became friends with Roberto on Facebook this week, and he keeps referring to you. He keeps DMing me and referring to you as Curly Lumb. I nearly introduced you as that. Anyway, what's your segment, Curly Lumb?
Right, so my segment, I did a bit of scouring on the internet, and I've found some images for us of basically knockoff toys. So There's a load of these. Now I've got a few, but stop me when we've done enough on these because there is quite a few. Wow. But some of them are fantastic. I'll put some up and we'll just talk briefly.
Are we meant to guess what they are, or they're gonna? Well,
no, you'll know. You'll know.
No. Let's see if we can guess what they are as well, because there might be some that are.
All right, I'll just put them up then one by one. Here we go.
There might be some that I've just bought for my kid.
That's Action Man, G.I. Joe, right?
Yeah, Action Man, G.I. Joe. Let me get rid of that. There you
go. Bruce Action. I like it, man. I mean, that is some bloody beard they've put on
his beard.
Is there an indication how old that is when it came out? Because
I don't know.
Kind of modern in a way.
If anybody wants to find these, there's absolutely tons of them. Just do a Google and they'll all come up.
Come on.
Superhero Avengers.
Remember in Avengers when right at the end Buzz Lightyear pops out?
That's amazing.
5 times bigger than Kingpin in the Thing. That's amazing.
To Infinity War and away.
And who can forget this classic pairing? Look at this.
You know, can we just stop there for a second? Because I've got to tell you something. My boy, he really thinks that it's really difficult to explain to a three-year-old that Marvel and DC aren't in the same world. Because he just wants to play with Batman and Spider-Man. So I let him because I'm not a monster.
I was going to say, no.
I think you'll find actually they only Batman and Spider-Man only met in one issue. It was a crossover issue, and I know they did. I know they've done some crossovers, but it's really hard to explain. Everything else he's got is Marvel apart from Batman, and just don't understand why they're not in the same world, but they are. I just need a copy of that T-shirt.
Yeah, it's like Romeo and Juliet.
And well, you also Avatar they've thrown in for some bizarre
reason. I don't give a shit about Avatar.
Amazing.
I thought Avatar was a bit convoluted.
Wow.
I'm only kidding.
Right, next. Let's keep going. Another crossover.
Wow.
What's wrong with that? I can't see anything. So at the top there, you can see in small letters it says Gotham City in the future. Does that mean in the future Batman takes off his cowl, grows a mullet, and become Superman.
I don't know.
That's having a mullet.
I mean, look at the artillery he's packing as well. I've never seen Superman with any guns. That's more Batman, isn't it? Yeah. Do you want to keep going? There's some board games here for you.
Keep going.
Here you go. These are don't fall down.
Twister. Yeah, okay. Brilliant.
Hang on, go back to that picture.
Hang on a
Can you have a
minute.
look at the family shot in that picture?
Oh, I've gone on. Hang on a minute. Let me go back.
Go back.
get
one.
back.
Why is it? Oh yeah. Why are there no parents in that family?
Yeah, it's all
A bunch
kids.
of kids. But also, the only one who's actually fallen down, seemingly, is the only one with glasses on. You think he can see better than the rest of them?
He's laying down. He's got his feet on.
I think these are better if you do them in some kind of evil accent. So don't fall down. Move around, but make sure to keep your balance.
What's the
like
Russian
an
game for combat? Is that what you're
Monopoly.
Monopoly.
I watched the thing. I found out today that Monopoly was used to help prisoners of war, British prisoners of war, and American prisoners of war escape from concentration camps.
Yes, I know about this.
Yeah,
It's so long, the guards get bored and their attention wanders.
yeah. Well, no, the Germans encouraged the soldiers to play board games because they thought it would distract them and stop them from making plans to escape. And British spies, well, the government got into MI9 actually got in touch with the makers of Monopoly, and before they put the paper down, they would cut little divots out of the board where they put like micro compasses and little like wire saws and silk maps so that they wouldn't crinkle up when they were folding them up and things like that. And not a single game of Monopoly was caught by, even though they're going through X-ray machines, not a single game of Monopoly was caught by the Germans, and loads of people escaped using the board game Monopoly.
But what if you just got a board game and you didn't know all those secrets were in it? Did they give you a piece of paper telling you what secrets were in it? By the way, this one's got a Swiss Army knife in it and this one's got a compass. Or did you? How did they convey that information?
Yeah, so what they did, sorry, there we are.
So my disappeared. He's Disney-peared.
Disney.
They got him.
No, what they do, so they would have, so you know what was in each set. They would have like a full stop after Mayfair on the board, so they'd have tiny little subtle clues on the place names, so that you knew which set you were getting. It's brilliant, really clever.
Awesome.
Sorry, there was sort of a little tangent from Geek.
It's all right. You know,
That's what it's all for.
it's interesting.
That's what it's all for.
There you go.
Despicable. Despicable. Amazing.
What is it?
It's just a bag. Despicable.
Despicable bag.
I'll keep
like
going.
it.
Keep going. There you go.
Garfield the
Transformer
Transformer.
Garth, amazing. Now that would have been brilliant. See, that is what.
Look
That
at
is
that.
what.
I have Mondays. Do you think that's a spelling error?
Yeah.
I have Mondays.
Yeah,
Oh,
tell me.
fucking Mondays, real
So
bad.
that is what Josh Baskin was talking about in Big when he was trying to get them to come up with different Transformers. I think he was actually going for a Garfield one. That would have been brilliant.
All
Blimey.
right, next. Let's keep going.
Cheers.
Here we go.
Nice.
Spook chasers.
Chasers.
Spook chasers. Yeah, good. Not
Weirdly
much to
enough,
say.
we're kind of expecting a Ghostbusters one. But I don't know what to say about that.
Big fella. Nice.
I don't know if some of these are genuine or not. They might not, because a guy did do a load of these and put them out in shops a while back. But some of them will be. Some of them are just. There's another bag next. Look at this one. This is just all over the shop. Look at this.
Obama.
Harry Potter and Sonic. It's like,
Why Obama?
Oh God.
Why is his
No idea.
face all the wrong colours?
That's
no idea.
Oh, that's really crazy.
Some of these for like, if you like all this stuff and just throwing it together in one thing.
Oh, I feel like these are all made in a factory where smoking's still allowed. I don't mean drugs. I mean they're allowed to smoke.
I think this is a knockoff of He-Man. You remember the figures?
Okay. Yeah.
And
We remember the episode where he had his head replaced.
Wow.
Just power, not Hulk. Just power.
I mean, that
Robin
looks like a strong Hulk.
Robin would
Yeah.
love that, to be fair.
Here we go. I'll keep going. There's a few more. I mean,
I ain't getting on no plane, but I will be embedded into a van.
Any the fool who's got a van for a body.
but you still need an axe.
Yeah, why is it an axe?
Axe and a machine gun.
Ooh. Nightmare Fetty.
Nightmare.
Fetty Cougar.
Fetty Cougar.
1, 2,
Wow.
Fetty's
Oh, wait a
coming
minute.
for
Don't
you.
worry about it. Guys, in case you're worrying about scaring the kids, it is for ages 4 and up. So it's been approved.
Nightmare on Elm Street. This is just a weird one I found.
It
Look at
is,
that.
What?
I mean, to be fair, that might be in an episode of The Simpsons somewhere where it's like,
Yeah. Here we go. Another.
wow. I mean, it's like Rambo, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is, yeah.
Yeah, I love how they couldn't be asked putting the beard on him, but he's in the photo. Crazy.
Clean shaven. You got 2 versions: clean shaven and beard.
Robert.
Robert.
No, I'm refusing. I think you're right. I think this guy's making shit up. No,
I think that
but
one's
no.
made up. You just don't know.
Robert's got 1 and 2.
Here's a
Breast
good one.
chaser.
What the hell is that supposed to be?
Breast chaser, Rich. Self-explanatory. Jesus, $17.95. That's cheap. Man.
Wow.
It's cheap. $17.95. Is that today's money or is that in
I
yen?
don't know. Probably dollars in it. I don't know.
Oh, you
Can't
said
tell.
you've done some research.
I think no. My research
kidding.
is Google. You know it is. Here we go. Another.
I mean, come on.
I don't know how many of these you want, but there's some.
Just my eyes can't.
Oh
take-
wow! Yeah, if you wanted every toy you need for your kid in one package, you've got a Lightning McQueen, you've got your Power Ranger, Superman, Batman, obviously, Spider-Man.
Sense of right. What's that word?
Sense of right.
Sense of right alliance. I think.
Science. Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's keep going here. There's some crackers.
Wow.
Oh dear,
What's happened there? I don't know what's happened.
she's really let herself go, man.
Then you've got real low budget ones like this.
That's incredible.
And then our old friend.
The thing is, if that's to
That's
oh dear, Archer and Fisherman Spider-Man. That's exactly what I want.
Well, I mean,
I
you know,
was gonna say about the one before.
Huckleberry
Oh.
Finn Spider Universe.
right, we've got some Star Wars ones. I mean, these are just.
Oh, crikey!
My lord.
I mean, they've just found 2 toys and just put them together and made one, haven't they? There.
But it looks like it might. It doesn't look like a reproduction Darth Vader. Do you know what I mean? It looks like they've made it because that
Yeah, they
that
are.
doesn't
They are.
resemble any of the toys I've ever seen. What's
You've
that?
got right. So
Cheap
this is
Lego.
look at that Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars.
But there were a company called Lepin. Do you know about this? Who were making
Yeah,
fake Lego toys, and they got
Yeah,
busted.
they finally caught them.
Yeah.
They caught them.
Um,
But that stuff is still all over the place. Not that I'm condoning fake Lego, man. Even if you're a piece of shit like I am, you don't have to buy the fake stuff. If you can't afford the real stuff, don't bother. Because that's what I've had to do.
Don't
But
care.
yeah, Headman.
Darth War.
Headman. Let's keep going. I'll just. There's only a few more.
Jeepers.
That's not too bad. That Boba Fett figure there. It's pretty good.
Yeah, that's all right. Porno Chewy.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
Here's a
dear.
good one.
Special man.
Wow.
He is special, all right. Special. Thomas the Tank Engine Transformer.
That's amazing. I kind of want that.
It's transformable, Thomas.
I kind of
Thomas.
Thomas.
I don't know how many of these are fake. So then there's just a Titanic video game, which I only put this in because I thought, what would that game involve? You're just driving into icebergs.
Exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
Because if so,
Boys 3.
oh man, you're flying through these, mate.
I know. There's
What is
only a
that?
few.
Honestly, Titanic. What the hell is the object of the game? Is it to miss it? If you miss the iceberg, it rewrites history.
I don't know.
Was
I
that
don't-
funny person? Was that Mr. Potato Head?
Yeah, that other one.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is a
Wait,
weird one, yeah.
Look at that. Look at his moustache.
Funny person, he's called. Funny person.
Yeah.
Franz
Transformers.
Franz
Transformers. I love their second album. It's amazing.
Franz
Right, we've got
Dark of the Moon.
three more. New style Ninja Tortoise.
I love how they've written tortoise on
it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Two more. Here we go.
Why Shrek? Shrek.
The love Shrek.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's for people who don't know what to buy the kids when the kids are asking for stuff like that, right? Because that one that had Lightning McQueen and Batman and Spider-Man and Shrek in it. Robin would love that. He would love it. Like, wow. You don't give a toss for the whole thing.
Can you go?
That's the last one.
Can you go back before that one?
Back to what?
The one before that. Because I'm curious.
Big Alliance. Big Alliance.
Oh, it said Big Alliance. I thought it said Big Oinons.
Oh, Big Alliance. Or Superman Big Alliance. Superman, even though Superman's not.
Brilliant.
So that's a lot. Finish with
that
the
Shrek figure actually looks all right.
Yeah. Good quality workmanship.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
I don't know what to say. Wow.
But seriously, Google them. Google them all if you're watching.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.
And if you find any toys, any fake toys out there, send us some pictures in and we can show them up on the show because they were a right laugh. Right, my segment this week is we're going to take another trip down memory lane. We're going to have a look at some old school cartoons. It's another best or worst segment. What is your best cartoon and what was your worst cartoon? Now, this caused quite a bit of debate during the week between the three of us. So if you have a best or worst cartoon, feel free to leave a comment and let us know, and we can continue the debate. But we're going to go to Chris first. Chris, what is your best cartoon?
Okay, my best cartoon ever is got to be. It's got to be Real Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters.
Loved it. And Nathan's shaking his head a little bit there. Look at him biting his lips.
Pricking my neck. I can't piss all over it when Lummish chose it as his favourite.
Well, of course you can. That's the whole point of this, though. Is
all right, let me start.
No, but actually, what? Okay, so why is it the Real Ghostbusters and not the Ghostbusters? Why weren't they able to use the name the Ghostbusters?
Well, back in the day, there was already an old series, a TV series called Ghostbusters, who had the name Ghostbusters. So when the Ghostbusters film came out, they had to license the name so they could call the film Ghostbusters. So when it came to the cartoon, this other company brought out a Ghostbusters cartoon. So to differentiate itself, they had to call it the Real Ghostbusters. Simple as that.
And it is the Real Ghostbusters.
It's the Real Ghostbusters, yeah.
Although Nathan probably disagrees with the fact.
I don't agree.
I don't know. Why don't you like it?
I mean, did I pick that as my worst one?
No.
You were going to.
Okay, the reasons I was going to is because everything that promises to be, it fails at. It should be as good. It should be somewhat anywhere near as good as Ghostbusters. Maybe have a couple of the people's voices in it. Even the cast didn't want anything to do with it. When you actually watch it, it's shite. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
It has no resemblance to the film whatsoever, which is what I was hoping it would do.
Do you know, we should have actually gone the other way around. I mean, why do you love it? Why is it your favorite cartoon? Actually, we should have started on the positive.
I remember watching it as a kid. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. And I'll tell you what, the animation is superb as well. It's not cheaply done. It's really well done.
The only thing
also, to counterpoint Nathan's argument, it does tie into the films with characters because as it gets to about series 7, Dana Barrett is in it and Louis Tilly. And
so I only have to wade through. Hang on, you're telling me I've got to wade through 7 series to get to? Why don't I just watch that episode and skip the whole?
Well, watch it and see what you think. But also, the pilot episode did have them resembling the movie characters more, and then they changed it just so they're a bit more colourful.
Have you seen the pilot episode?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. And the other reason I was, I enjoyed it. I think it. The first time I watched it, I was a little bit put off by the fact that the Slimer character. It was that kind of, okay, we've got to have like a little sidekick, a little thing for kids, a little Scrappy-Doo sort of style character in it. And that kind of annoyed me. I was blatantly a fan of the films and like, well, yeah, but they weren't friends. Why the hell is, you know, be on their side?
I think a lot of this is why there's such a big fan base for Ghostbusters, though, because this series came out in between the first film and the second one.
Yeah.
And that's why in the second film, Slimer is a bit more of a friendly kind of ghost, because they had to go, we've had him in this cartoon. Yeah, if you like.
I'm honestly only coming at it from a point of view of being let down. If they could have got the voice actors or made the characters look even a little bit like they're supposed to, then fair enough. But for me, it didn't hold up. I ain't got strong memories of it as a cartoon, you know, as a kid. But I really struggled, to be honest, because a lot of it, as an adult, it's quite hard retrospectively to look back. You either got to judge things as you did when you were a kid and you watched them, in which case everything's brilliant, or you've got to have a bit of reality to it and say, well, now I'm older, what stood the test of time and what hasn't? You know what I mean?
I'm going by what I used to enjoy and what I used to hate when I was a kid, not now.
Okay.
Okay, so what
you're not telling me you don't watch the occasional real Ghostbusters episode?
I still watch.
When was the last time you watched it?
I don't know.
That's not good enough.
Sorry.
Okay, so what?
I remember them all so well, all 7 series, that I don't need to.
What was your worst cartoon, Chris? What was the cartoon?
Worst one, without a doubt. I hated it as a kid. Scooby-Doo.
Oh, we're going to be controversial there, kid. I agree with you. 100%.
I honestly
I'm really surprised that both of you hated this cartoon.
I always thought Hanna-Barbera, even as a kid, Hanna-Barbera cartoons were cheaply made. Do you know when they used to run and that same background scroll back about 80 times? Even as a kid, I thought this is cheap.
Yeah, I used to have the Flintstones meet Count Rockula and Frankenstone on VHS. It was one of the animated films they did. Yeah. And there was a lot of chase sequences in that. And it was exactly that, running through this castle. And it was exactly the same scenery, you know, constantly. And I remember, it did jar a little bit.
But Scooby-Doo, I never really liked the characters. I just thought they were all a bit crap. I don't know. You know, it was like, and it was the same thing every time on it as well. You watched it and they went, oh, it's the guy at the amusement park. Oh, yeah, brilliant.
They're eating a massive sandwich. And Shaggy's not stoned. He's not stoned.
Yeah.
He's not a stoner at all. No. You got that all wrong. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it were 2-1 though. You know, maybe one series would have been fine for me. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of hate for this. I know there's a lot of Scooby-Doo love out there, but I'm not one of them. And I've never really liked any of the incarnations since that. Scrappy-Doo's a dick as well, I'll say that. I mean, that's your perfect example, Rich, of that Slimer character. Yeah. I'm sorry, but the kids are watching a cartoon already. You don't need to stick something in for the kids because they're already sat down in front of it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But Scrappy-Doo, why did he have perfect English as well? And Scooby-Doo's like, Ruby-Doo. Jesus.
Maybe he went to a good school. Yeah. Maybe Scooby were putting him through a decent school, you know, after his trouble.
Shaggy's encouraged Scooby-Doo to eat a lot of treats that we know are really harmful for dogs. You know what I mean? So giving him like doggy diabetes or something.
I never saw him give him any chocolate, though. I never give him any chocolate.
Garlic,
No, but he'd give him a sandwich that big. Lummy, with that, you can't even fit it on the screen. The sandwich was that big.
Yeah, too big. It's too. Yeah, even I know. Even I know that's too big.
The only way you can eat a sandwich like that's that big is by going like that, squishing it, and then going.
Yeah, but he'd always be able to dislocate his jaw enough.
I think sandwiches do look bigger on screen, though, don't they, than in real life?
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You said
like when you see McDonald's adverts and the burgers like that for a Big Mac, and then you get one in reality, it's like that. You know,
it's a little Mac. It's a liar.
It's a little Mac. Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
We've got some. Do you want to save the?
I like.
Do you want to save the comments till the end, and we'll ask?
Let's ask the comments as we go along.
All right. I just saw a really good one from Roberta when we saw Robert Man.
Hang on a minute. Best cartoon, Rob Girdler, Danger Mouse. Yes.
Ah, that was all right.
Danger Mouse. Say up, Rob. Happy New Year, buddy.
Hey up, Rob.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Danger Mouse, I agree with. In fact, quite a few of the British ones were quite well put together.
Crossgrove Hall won it. Count Duckula as well, who did.
Yeah.
Good. Good stuff.
For some reason, even though they were clearly made on the cheap, they didn't look cheap. Like rhubarb and custard, that was made in Britain. It doesn't look cheap compared to some of the stuff you were complaining about Hanna-Barbera. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's done deliberately minimalistic. Yeah, I like Danger Mouse. It was a good one.
But yeah, because it's done. It seems like it's sort of more carefully considered, whereas Hanna-Barbera is like it feels like it's a workaround, a sort of an easy way out.
Yeah. Best one. Pixels
I remember that. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Yeah. No, it's funny actually because Mask was potentially going to be my worst one, but I changed. I changed my mind at the last minute because I had the toys, so I realised that on some level I must have really loved Mask, but yeah.
But when you're a little boy, it doesn't really take much of an imagination. This is why the cartoon people had us by the short and curlies, because it doesn't take a lot of imagination to get your attention as a kid. If it's got cars in it, I would have watched it probably. So Transformers, Mask, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, all that sort of stuff. I would have watched it just because it was deliberately marketed towards me.
Hang on a minute. This is Mask as in the car one, not Jim Carrey.
That's not a cartoon.
Oh no, there was a cartoon.
There was
not when we were kids.
No. All right. Mask, yeah. All right.
Do you know what? Really, I don't mind the film. That's just to diatribe for a second on a tangent. But Mask, my brother used to collect a comic book that was like a weekly series of weird comic books that weren't really kid friendly. They were more aimed towards young adults and adults. And the Mask, the Jim Carrey thing, when that film came out, I loved the film when I saw it in the pictures, but I was really disappointed because in the cartoon, in the comic book, is amazing. When you put that mask on, you turn into the Mask, but with a psychopathic edge. This Mask character would go around killing people. It was absolutely brilliant, absolutely amazing. And it's sort of they cut all that out and just kept it kid friendly and really Tex Avery and cartoonish, but. Yeah, I always thought the original story could have been a really, really good take on it. Really good film.
Absolutely.
Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year, Rob.
Were there any other close contenders, Lummy, for your best or your Count Duckula's team is brilliant.
A lot of love for Count Duckula.
I was just going to say, we were
Happy New Year, Dan, by the way.
Yeah, man. Happy New Year, Dan. With kids' cartoon series theme tunes, we were spoiled for choice, man. When you think about
that's potentially going to be another topic in a couple of weeks. We just need to have a workaround for that because we don't want to get slapped with a couple of
you could sing them, Rich, for us.
We've got to sing. Yeah, that'd be nice. Or Nathan's got a all on the guitar.
We can hum it. I've got a kazoo. We can kazoo it.
Do it, yeah.
Ducky Blues. That's my
trapdoor.
Ducky Blues.
Were there any close contenders for best or worst? Because I know that we all found this difficult topic.
There were loads. I used to. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Don't know if you know.
Yeah, you mentioned in previous weeks that was.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Put it on Disney Channel, and Robin's been watching it, and it's really good for him.
Doesn't he make you become Iceman?
Yeah, it's starting.
It turns around and goes, "Where's Batman?"
Yeah, it's like, turn this shit off. Batman's not in it. What's going on? I've told you about it. We talked about this. No, he does. He goes, I don't know if you remember the opening sequence, but you see Spider-Man and then you see Firestar and Iceman in there. I can't remember. Bobby Drake and whoever Firestar. I can't remember her name.
Angelica. Something.
There you go. And you see them in the normal clothes and then it shows you them changing. And to change, Iceman just shoots himself with ice. That sounds a bit dumb. And then he pops out of it, smashes out of the ice and he's Iceman. So now when me and Robin play, I've got to do that. Shh. And then
jump out the freezer.
That's really nice.
just water all over the floor everywhere.
I don't want to play with you, Daddy. It hurts.
What about you, Nathan? What was your best cartoon when you were
best cartoon? I went at it from a different angle. I thought, when I was a kid, all cartoons were my best cartoon. All of them. Just give me a cartoon to watch. But as an adult, I think what for me held up the test of time, going back maybe 15 years ago now, my brother got a copy of Dungeons and Dragons on the box set, And when I was a kid, it was everything I wanted in a TV show. You know, you've got the character that's a magician, you've got the main guy who's the barbarian, all the different Dungeons and characters, the Dungeons and Dragons. But bear in mind, sorry to say, but I've never played Dungeons and Dragons. That's not my point. The point of this story is in the first episode, they are on a ride and they go through, they're on one of them, oh, what do they call it? Tunnel of Love type thing where you get into a
Dragon ride, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it. Sorry, it's been a long time since. But anyway, they get on the ride and they go through and they end up in Dungeons and Dragon World. And then for the rest of the series, they're trying to get back home. And as far as I know, they never actually make it home.
No. Actually,
they never do.
No, right now, this is what I was going to ask because I've heard. Okay, so every episode ended with them just about to get through this magic portal.
That was so tantalising as a kid.
And then, as they were about to do it, suddenly you'd hear. Can you do a uni impression, Chris?
No.
Yeah, suddenly you'd hit, and Bobby would be like, "No, uni," and then suddenly the portal would close and they'd be stuck there. Now, I heard a rumor that the last episode of Dungeons and Dragons was where you found out that Uni was actually Venger's horse all along, and that he was always just keeping them back in the fantasy land.
Venger was the bad guy in the show, by the way, just in case nobody realised.
So neither of you
can't remember. I can't remember. Honestly, don't remember if they ever got home.
I remember they didn't get home, though. They didn't get home. Definitely.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe we should write the ending for that. I should rehash it and write the ending because I reckon they should get home. But when they do, they find out it's full of really cunty, annoying unicorns taking over Earth. And they're just like, let us back through the portal, please. I don't know.
We've got, what's this here? Hang on. Got Spider-Woman was badass, shot words from her fingers, not some rubbish.
Yeah, fair. Yeah.
That always confused me. I mean, I don't know about you boys, but I remember seeing iterations of Spider-Man where he didn't have to have a web blaster. It just came out of his hands or his wrist or wherever. He got
his ass.
His ass. Cracking webs. But yeah, I don't remember Spider-Woman as a cartoon. Maybe you guys just have more TV channel.
Daniel's give us a full Mask title, mobile.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
I used to like talking to theme. I did like the theme tune from Mask. I seem to remember. I only had one toy of Mask. Do you remember the little robot dude?
Yeah.
I had a figure of him, and he got the little guy who sat on his back, the little kid. That's the only thing I had, and I didn't really like it.
I had the car with the doors that flipped up to create wings, and I had the motorbike that turned into a helicopter.
I had a few, I can't remember which ones now. I think I had the helicopter motorbike one. But yeah, they were cool. I get those confused between, because there was a later generation of Transformers where they came out, and they could change into multiple things. Yeah. And they were very Mask-like. I just get those toys confused now. It's like a giant toy box in my mind. Dan, if you're still out there, Dan, did Dungeons and Dragons ever end? Did they ever get home? Because we can't remember.
Or did Uni end up being Venger's horse? Because, I remember somebody told me that a few years ago, and I thought
there might be something in that. Do any
of you remember Centurions?
Yeah.
These weird guys had weird suits, and you could you could change their armor and add different weapons. And
each character had a hologram chest plate, and if you held it one way, it'd show you what their powers were. What if they used an axe or a sword or whatever. And if you turn it the other way, you'd see what animal they were representing. Do you remember that?
No.
I remember something like that. I didn't know what they were called though.
They're pretty cool transfers on them, like holograms. They were quite bright. Yeah.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was your worst cartoon, Nathan?
My worst one. Remind me. What was it?
I'll show you.
Oh, yeah. Again, for the same reasons. And I'm counting
Ewoks. Is that the Ewoks?
And droids.
Ewoks and droids. I totally disagree with you on this one. I can't believe this is
fine. That's fine. No, for the same reasons as Ghostbusters, in that I wanted it to be better. I just wanted it to be more like the film. You know what I mean? And I thought the animation style, and I know you're going to disagree, but I just still think it's shit. It doesn't look good. It's never looked good. It put me off the cartoons. Took me right out of the Star Wars world. And
If you had to choose, though, what would you prefer, Ewoks or droids? Which one?
I like Ewoks. I like Ewoks.
I would have liked Ewoks better than droids.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think the Ewoks cartoon was
at least
better.
That's got a bit more comedy value in it, hasn't it?
Yeah,
but yeah.
I mean, they did have Anthony Daniels as C-3PO as the voice, though. So I've got. I've got that out for you.
Brilliant.
Just to piss you off.
What is it? Oh, it's not going to piss me off. I'm glad you love it.
It's the Marvel comic book. It's the Marvel comic books of them.
I'd rather read that than watch the show.
I'll lend you it. You can have a read of it. Do a critique.
All right.
And were there any close contenders for you, Nathan?
Pardon?
Were there any other close contenders for you for best and worst cartoons?
You know what? The thing is, I didn't want to hate on cartoons and stuff because it's not fair as an adult. I'm judging things as an adult now. I probably loved all this stuff when I was a kid. But apart from droids and Ewoks and real Ghostbusters, never really liked them as a kid. I think that's why they made it through. But I didn't want to shit all over cartoons. Cartoons are great. People should watch more of them. And I wish I still watch. Yeah, thank you. Made me sad too, man. I agree.
Very sad. Nothing like the film.
But that's all it is, Lummy. It's not that I hate them. It's like I just wish they were a little bit better and a bit more like the films, the pedigree.
I understand why you cry. It's something I could never do.
Oh dear. So yeah, that's my opinion. So there are a couple that could have made it into the best ofs. Most of them you guys have mentioned. Transformers was a good one for me.
Here you go, bit of your Dungeons and Dragons here. So apparently,
there you go.
Wait a minute.
All right.
Let's have a look at that.
That might be an interesting segment to review one week.
Yeah.
Do
you know, being out geeked by your audience isn't great, though, is it?
No, but that's the idea of this. We've got varying degrees of
but we're learning.
But no, the whole point is we've got varying degrees of nerd knowledge, and we're a community of people that are all sharing together. And
you should ignore the T-shirt. It's a lie. I'm living a lie. But yeah, could have been a couple more. But honestly, I think I'm happy with the ones I chose. Dungeons and Dragons had the appeal that it just kept tantalizing you every episode. As an adult, I probably would be stopped. I'd be like, what's she called in Misery, going, I went to see that movie and he dies at the end, and then next week you go back and he brought him back. That sort of thing. It's just, as an adult, I probably would feel differently. But
I've got a question for you.
Pretty scary as a kid.
Who do you think had the worst power out of all of them?
So it was Bobby the Barbarian, and it was the Ranger. I can't remember his name. And there was the lady with the staff, wasn't there?
Yeah.
The lady with the invisibility cloak.
I didn't realize we had to do so much research. The wizard guy.
There was the mage, but I can't remember why he was a bit shit. And then he got
the tricks wrong, didn't he? He got it all wrong.
That was it. And the cowardly guy with the shield that was like this kick-ass.
Yeah.
I mean, really, they do have a set of amazing powers between them.
They're all individually flawed. So the guy in the suit of armor is a bit of a prick.
Yeah.
Probably him. He is. He's a bit of a. Is it Eric? It's Eric, isn't it? Yeah. If I had to, I'd have to go with. I think Bobby the Barbarian looks really cool in that massive leather chest thing he's wearing. That's clearly 50 sizes too big for him.
And he was a real hothead, wasn't he? He was. In fact,
no, I can't, because I'd have to hang around with that bloody unicorn, wouldn't I?
Oh, I love you.
I'm going to go with it now. You've said it now. You've got to hang around with a unicorn.
Yeah, unicorns for life, not just for Christmas, Webby.
Yeah, no, takes you back.
No, I'm going to change my idea. I'm going to go with the lady that's the athlete lady, or the invisible. Anyone? Who cares?
There we go.
Let's go. Yeah, cheers.
We've got a Dungeons and Dragons expert here. This is great.
This is good. This is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I certainly haven't got one here. I just picked my favourite cartoon. I haven't seen it for 25 years.
That's the thing, though, isn't it? I mean, we're forcing ourselves, although we've got this nostalgic love for things, we're kind of forcing ourselves to examine why and whether they still stand up. And, it's...
Yeah. So that's why I picked Dungeons and Dragons, because I feel like if I watched that again, I probably would still be interested to find out whether they went home or not. But I want to see that fan edit, man. I want to see the Requiem and see what happens.
we'll do that. We'll watch that and we'll give it a review 1 week.
Yeah.
It'd be
Who's
interesting.
left?
My favourite cartoon was Dogtanian and the Musker Hounds. Ah, man, I loved this cartoon.
All for one, Musker Hounds are always
Again, up there with the best theme tunes. But it was brilliant because, I mean, I loved the Musketeers as a kid anyway. I was just a huge fan of sort of swashbuckling films and things like that. But then to have, like, I love dogs as well. So you kind of mix in my two favourite things, sword fighting and dogs.
And
sword fighting dogs, brilliant. And Tanians, yeah. And it was just great. It was a really, really... And it's funny because every time I've watched another sort of incarnation of the Musketeers story, whether it be the BBC One series or any of the many, many films, I always find myself going, that's not how it happened, because I'm so the cartoon version is so ingrained in me. But I loved it. The animation wasn't great. In the introduction, an apple would fall down and he'd cut it like that, but it would fall that way. You know, it just little things like that. It wasn't perfect.
But that's because he's cut it so fine with his sword that it's just paper thin and it's floating.
Yeah, it's just yeah. I mean,
detail.
But, yeah, detail. Of course. But no, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. You know, and his love interest in there, and it's great.
I wonder how many of these cartoons we've picked actually had origins in the US or in England, because some of them I used to watch used to feel very like French or European.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. So I was out of my best cartoons, it was a toss-up between Dogtanian and the Musketeers and the Cities of Gold, Mysterious Cities of Gold. Again, up there with the best cartoon theme tunes. And I got the impression that they were French cartoons.
Possibly. I just think,
I think there were a few French. This was that Willy Fogg. I think that was.
I love that.
Was that Spanish?
Yeah,
I don't
that
know.
was Spanish. I think Willy Fogg was Spanish.
And then there was Inspector Gadget was French as well, I think.
Was it really?
Yeah. Because there's actually, you know, me and my CD soundtracks. I've got a version of the original Inspector Gadget soundtrack, and it's got all the other languages of the theme song on it, and it's got the French. I think it was originally French, and it's all dubbed, and all the soundtrack songs had words to go with them in French.
Nice. Okay, I'd like to hear that.
Bizarre.
I mean, there were some proper weird ones, like you remember Vicky the Viking?
Loved Vicky. Hey, Vicky. Hey, Vicky.
I'm betting my bottom dollar that is European. I'm not sure where it's from, but it's very strange. It's a bit niche.
Well, we got some controversy. Here we go.
There you go. Yeah, no, honestly, for me, Dan, absolutely. It was a real toss-up between the two. I just think there was just more of a...
Oh, there you go. Cities of Gold Canadian.
Canadian?
What, French Canadian?
Don't know.
Are you waiting for him to reply?
Yeah.
No. Just wait.
Nobody's speaking now. We're just going to wait for your reply, Rob. No, it wasn't. Like I said, Dan, it was a toss-up between Cities of Gold and Dogtanian, but I think Dogtanian just edged it for me. But it could have gone either way.
Rich just loves watching murder dogs. One running around.
Murder dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm not dog fighting. That's not my thing. And my
got swords. Now you're talking my language.
I'll tell you, I just remembered, right, in Dogtanian, there was this character, I can't remember which character it was, but he used to shrink in size. Do you remember this? When he were embarrassed, or it was in Dogtanian, I'm sure. Or maybe I'm just going insane.
Shrinky.
I don't know. I'm sure there were a character who used to like shrink down in size. They were like weird.
Embarrassed?
I think so. I don't know if anybody knows that. I don't know.
I don't remember.
Maybe you were embarrassed about the cartoon. I don't know. But
maybe he showed up for sword fighting practice and pulled out a banana or something. He's like,
I hope somebody remembers that, else it's going to look insane. I was like, why would I have said that?
Yeah, just anybody out there that wants to help us out, what the hell is Lummy talking about?
Or was it in Willy Fogg? It might have been Willy Fogg. Well, one of them. There was this character, and for some reason he shrunk down.
It sounds plausible, yeah.
And it had like them whistle sounds. Ooh. Used to
Well,
do
that makes sense. How else are you going to illustrate that somebody's shrinking down without that noise?
Other than illustrating it.
I can't think what that might have been, but it does ring a bell somewhere.
I'm
Right?
sure one of the
Thinking of
characters.
that short-lived cartoon. They only did 2 or 3 series called Shrinky Dogs.
With
Shrinky
swords.
Dinky Dogs.
Shrinky Dinkies. Yeah, Shrinky Dinks.
Copyright that. We're going to produce that. We'll all be a voice. Hey, Shrinky Dogs, what are we doing today?
I just can't stop shrinking because I'm so embarrassed all the
What the hell are we on about now?
Don't know.
Yeah. I like Mrs. Pepperpot. That was good. Yeah.
No, it's talking about the shrinking aspect. Mrs. Pepperpot. Yeah, that sounds familiar.
I don't know. Who knows? Apparently,
What?
Ring
Okay.
is actually originally joint. Thank you. All right, so it was a French and Japanese joint project.
Yeah, I mean that. Yeah, you could probably see that
French
in
and
the animation.
Japanese, eh?
See that in the animation, though. It was that's great. Love City Gold and Octanian. And my worst what was my worst cartoon? I can't remember what it was now. Lumby, you're gonna have to remind me.
Sorry, I've got it here. Hang on. It was.
Oh God, it was Jason the World Warriors, of course. Nathan mentioned it earlier on. Yeah, it felt very. I mean, I watched it because it was a cartoon, and I watched pretty much every cartoon that was on TV. But I always felt a bit dirty watching it. It felt like it was like a rip-off of all the best cartoons, that were out, Transformers.
Did you watch it under a blanket?
I did, yeah. It was.
Is that the one where plants used to take over the cars? There
were sort of organic matter as well as yeah. And I used to watch it. It was a bit because I used to like Ulysses as well, but mostly for the theme tune. And I used to just kind of put Ulysses and Jason the World Warriors in that sort of lower category of cartoon. It just wasn't my favorite. And I'm looking at it now and I do not recognize half the characters.
Who's that little dude with the little knight dude? What's he?
Oh, no, I do remember him.
I
don't remember what he was called.
No idea. I mean, I must have seen that maybe twice, I think.
Really?
Yeah, one that was on my...
One for me either, I've got to say.
But I do recognise it, but...
I did watch it. I watched it pretty religiously, but I watched pretty much every cartoon that was on TV. But it just, they are Ulysses. Exactly, Rob. Yeah.
I mean,
exactly.
I still don't know what Ulysses was about, man.
Amazing theme tune, though. Absolutely fucking incredible theme tune to Ulysses. It's brilliant.
I think it was just a little bit over my head. I needed more explosions and a few more cars and some shrinking dogs.
Shrinky Dinky Dogs.
Shrinky Dinky Dogs.
But yeah, so that was it. Jason the World Warriors was, and Ulysses was a close runner-up. But what was the little hippo type Moomins? The original Moomins, so not the cartoon. The original Moomins used to scare the shit out. I mean, our little kids' TV shows were creepy as fuck, like Finger Mouse and things like that. Bagpuss as well. They would not look out of place in like a sort of macabre, scary kind of.
Why the hell did Bagpuss scare the life out of me? I can't remember. Nothing in it. It was character in it. I think it was that woodpecker thing.
The stop motion, innit? You're afraid of stop motion, both of you.
Yeah, I'm scared of it.
That's it. Yeah, I am.
I've got a thing about Moomins, right? Me and when we were at college, we did our, as you two all know, we went to Sweden, touring Tame of the Shrew. Some of us stayed at home. You two, you two. Me and all the rest of them who were on the thing went to watch the Moomins live.
Massive.
Yeah, they loved it. They absolutely loved it over there. So went to see it.
I watched a documentary about the woman that made it a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So we went to watch it live. It was absolute crap.
I think it might be Sweden or Finland, where the mozzarella is called Moomin meat.
Ah.
Eesh.
Yeah, man, that's quite cool though. Moomin meat. That's
I
awesome.
think you used to like. Was there a witch in it? There was a witch in the Moomins, wasn't there?
I
Yeah,
never,
but she was like a little.
Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, that
quite
used to freak me
friendly,
out.
yeah.
Yeah.
What did used to freak me out was Willow the Wisp.
Yeah, exactly the same.
It
Yeah.
used to make me cack myself. That was actually quite scary. I have no idea. I think Kenneth Williams did the voice.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
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 Maybe that's why. I was like, why are they all camp? Why are they all so camp? I don't understand.
Well, that was my section for this week. Best and worst cartoons. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for your picks, and thank you for all of your input at home. Now, for your picks.
Thank
But
goodness for our picks.
thanks to your prick as well, man. It was a really.
You're welcome. Anytime.
It was tasty.
And I've got a picture.
Of what?
Your oh no, that's Scooby Doo again.
What?
He is drinking beer though, isn't he?
Oh, is that a beer? That was our two glass.
Yeah,
I've only had his eye.
That's
That's how I
when he
measure.
got down to the hologram projection unit was screwed.
Down there. Yeah.
So we are going to be looking, have a little retrospective look through lots of geek films that are fond in our hearts and maybe not so fond. This week we are looking at the Phantom Menace. We're looking at the first Star Wars prequel, Episode 1, the Phantom Menace.
Now, let's just explain a little bit. Some of you are probably thinking, why? Why on earth are you doing that? There's a couple of reasons. First of all, we wanted to do, if we're going to go through a series of movies like Star Wars or Harry Potter or whatever, we've got to do it chronologically. It just makes sense. So unfortunately, that means getting through some of the turdy things or things that people don't like so much, taking the rough with the smooth. But also, I thought maybe it'd give us an opportunity, because I bet each one of us could come on here and do 3 hours about how crap the Phantom Menace is. But I thought maybe we'll see something in there we've never seen before, something positive. So I took it from an angle of trying to write a pros and cons list. Now, unsurprisingly, the pros list's pretty short. I mean, it's short. There's no other way of saying it. But the pros list is endless. I mean, I had to cut myself off. I thought that's enough.
You mean the cons?
The cons list.
I had to cut myself off from the cons, man, because I was like,
Okay. Well, so basically, we decided that what we were going to do is going to have a retrospective look at some of these films, because even though the Phantom Menace and all the people was disappointed at the time, we give them a look now with the benefit of hindsight, having seen all 9 films as well, and we thought we'd give them a really fair crack of the whip. So no preconceived judgment. We're looking at them with fresh eyes and an honest, fair crack of the whip. So, gentlemen, what did you think of this piece of shit?
I fucking hate it. As soon as I put it on, I was like, why did I? Oh, God. Oh, do I have to watch this? And I did. I made it all the way through.
Yeah. I had to do it in 2 parts. I had to take the dog for a walk halfway through because I was so angry.
I was grateful to have the notes to make as I was watching it, to take my eye off the screen, because it's just offensive on so many levels.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I wasn't as harsh as you two, obviously, on it, but I didn't mind watching it again. I've got to say, I wasn't as against it as you guys were. I didn't mind it because I hadn't seen it in a while as well. I actually did, and because we were doing it for this, I thought, let's have a look at it again and fresh eyes.
Okay, just for the people out there that haven't.
Can we just get something over and done with before? Because I think it would be wrong for us. Look, we're 3 white guys watching this film, but I think it'd be wrong for us not to mention it. But also, I don't think we're qualified to talk about it too much. Anyone else feel like there was some moments where maybe it was a little bit racially insensitive?
Yeah. In a nutshell, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just some choices that it's just somebody's job. Somebody's job to watch it and go, now, is this going to be misunderstood on any level? And if it is, then why leave it in the film? You've just got to.
I honestly don't really know, other than maybe it was one guy who just kept pushing Like, why have we got all these alien languages? Make that right. That one's Japanese. That guy's Jamaican. Done. We're done. No, we don't need to talk about it anymore. Then we don't need to spend all the money on the subtitles. We just make them talk in a funny accent. I've no idea what the creative choices were. I don't understand a lot of the creative choices in this movie at all, other than while I was doing a bit of research for it, I came across this behind the scenes. It's all you need to know. All you need to know is behind the scenes, and George Lucas is there. Remember, George Lucas came out of retirement to direct this film. He believed in it that strongly. And there's a bit of him behind the scenes, behind camera, and he's looking at something that Ahmet Best is doing, the guy who played Jar Jar Binks. And he was like, yeah, we definitely need to do this because Jar Jar Binks is the funniest thing we've had in any Star Wars movie so far. That's honestly what he said. That's what he thought. At the time he was filming it, he really thought this was going to knock everybody's socks off and be the best thing ever. So it just, I don't know if it's a deluded billionaire thinking he's still got the chops to direct another movie and you know, strike oil again. I don't know, man.
It's odd. There's so many things in this. I think there's good things and bad things in this thing, and it's all over the place. Really, after watching it again, you know, there's some. Where's he going? What's he doing?
Disney didn't like him criticizing it, so they've just wiped it out.
Yeah, Disney have
get away from the windows.
See a red dot.
Why are you sat next to a window, man? When we're talking about this,
Disney appeared again.
Oh yeah. Sorry, right, guys. But anyway, yeah, I didn't intend to sit down and slag it off. But if there's ever a movie that makes it easy to do so, it's this one.
Yeah, that's fair.
For numerous reasons. But let's see how this goes.
Right. So the best way of going through this, I guess, Chris, I understand you've got some pictures. So why don't you take us through the film, and I guess we can pass judgment and comment as we go along.
Right. Okay. So opening crawl starts as always. Episode 1. Phantom Menace is loaded
right there.
Right, go on.
It actually is. I mean, what's with the title? I know what it means. I think, you know, it implies that there is a Phantom Menace out there. Is it Palpatine? Spoiler alert, the Emperor. Is it young Anakin? Spoiler alert, Darth Vader. You know, the Phantom Menace. Is it Padme? There's all kinds of people it could be. But what a stupid title. In my opinion, it's just a stupid title. It doesn't make me go,
well, again, I mean, the original idea for this, I'm a bit of a defender with stuff like this, I guess. I didn't realize how much. But the idea is it was based on serials, you know, the old-fashioned serials. And they did have titles like this, all the old Flash Gordon things. They had titles like Phantom Menace. Yeah, all that business. So that is what this film series is based on. Now, because we're all fanboys and there's loads of fanboys out there, you know, I kind of get that when you know, George Lucas does say, "Oh, I made these for kids" and that, but I also then you've got to look at this thing about all the trade taxation routes and all this stuff as well. You know, this got massive criticism when it came out, didn't it? Because I said people were taking the kids to see it and they're like, "What is all this opening crawl about? It's all on about tax disputes and all this stuff." And you think, yeah, it's not really. Kids aren't going to know what's going on, you know, with that stuff. So there's for and against all this stuff.
More confusingly than that, though, it's like, okay, hang on, George, I think we might have lost the kids, man, with this trade dispute bullshit. What are we going to do? Oh, stick a giant pod race in there. Stick a funny walking, you know.
Okay, so let's go through it in order.
Let's go through it. So next, right, so opening scene, they fly to the one of the Trade Federation ships. Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon.
The droids.
Annoying.
Which feature massively throughout it. I mean, it's something I've got a bit of an issue with the Star Wars universe anyway, is that the droids are a little bit hit and miss. I think, look, I love BB-8, C-3PO, R2-D2, and that little one in the last film. All great. But all these battle droids, I think Mandalorian has it right with the Dark Troopers. I think they're great. But
they don't speak.
Yeah, they don't speak. That's it. Yeah, I've got issues. Even in the latest films, I've got some issues. I've got some issues with the droids in the latest films.
And the way I see it is, I don't mind them making droids be able to speak English. That makes total sense, so we can communicate with them and get the job done. But why give them whatever it is, a sarcasm chip or a stupid, annoying quip chip, that everything they say sounds stupid in that accent. If you're going to be a droid, speak like a droid, and they've got emotional responses to things all the time. Oh no, that thing, it just doesn't make any sense.
I mean, there was a scene like where there was these three little droids that had like a little sort of slapstick scene together, like it was like the Three Stooges, and I was just like, why? It's just, it doesn't stand up for me.
I mean, again, it's coming back to that. It's trying to put a bit of comedy into it, and that's why, we're going to talk about it anyway, Jar Jar Binks. We'll get onto it in a minute, but that's why there's little bits where they're trying a bit of humor, and it's just not.
It's not hitting, is it?
Do you know what? It's not little bits. It's an attempt to make this guy have something funny to say or do every second he's on the screen. That's the problem with it. So he never shuts the hell up, and he's not funny from the start. And the joke wears thin after about 3 seconds, and then you're stuck with him for 2 hours.
Yeah, well, we'll get on to
it. I think we all know people who are like. We've all got a friend that's like that, and if you don't, you probably are that friend. Because here's the.
I don't know anybody like that.
I feel really sorry for the dude, man. I mean,
in real life.
Dude, he got bullied. He's seriously became a mess, and he's not the only person that's been in Star Wars that's been destroyed by being in Star Wars. There's been some quite recently.
Years later, he's still getting shit.
It's just ridiculous. Personally speaking, the guy did his best with what he was given, and it wasn't controlled by the people who were directing it. But how do you tell George Lucas is wrong when he's the person directed it? He invented Star Wars. He's a billionaire. How do you say, George, this is shit, mate? Like, can't you see it's terrible? There must have been some people on that. They always say that after that.
You buy the franchise. You buy the franchise. That's how you do it.
They always say after A New Hope, people were laughing in it. They were laughing in the crowd scenes and stuff. They were like, "This is never going to be good. Oh my god, this is so terrible. I can't believe we're in this." And then the joke were on them. I feel like that isn't the case with the Phantom Menace. It's like everybody was surely thinking this ain't right.
I mean, to be honest, though, to be completely honest, it's like maybe you didn't know at the time it was going to be received like this. There's a documentary about episode 1, an hour-long thing, and at the end of it, he even says, "I don't know if I've done too much here. He's put too many things in it and all that." So even he didn't know. I mean, nobody knows when they're making these films. I don't know if it's going to be a massive hit. I mean, look at
when you're just sitting there counting the ticket admissions for that film. And you're not actually speaking to people that watch the film. You just count it. How are you ever going to know that you were wrong? Unless people say, George, that was a terrible movie. Because if you look at the ticket sales, when it came out, we all went to see it. I was over the moon when the trailer came out. Yeah. I worked at the cinema. I must have watched that trailer 30 times. I got people I knew that liked Star Wars that didn't know the trailer was coming. I sneaked them in to watch the trailer. You know what I mean? So it's just I don't know. It's just...
I think for me, it's down to your motivation. So like you said, he's put too much in it. Why has he put too much in it? Well, why has he put a Jar Jar Binks in there for the kids? Why has he put something in for the kids so that they will come and see the movie? Why has he done that? Money. So at every step of the way, I think he's jeopardized the product or the story.
I don't think it's just money as well. You've got to remember that he was really, really, really proud of what ILM were doing at the time. He was proud that it got to the point where they could seamlessly, and it looks dated now, 20 years later, integrate so much CGI into a film. Now, this is my argument for why the performances in that film aren't strong, and it's always been the same since I saw it. It took me a little while to realize it, but I figured you've got Oscar winners in this movie. You've got Natalie Portman won an Oscar. Qui-Gon, what's he called? Liam Neeson, Schindler's List, won an Oscar. Yeah. You know what I mean? You've got some really, really heavy. You've got
Sam Jackson,
all the usual cast that come back, but for some reason it looks like none of them can act, and I think it's because it's really, really hard, no matter how good you are at acting, to act against the green screen 100% of the time. You know what I mean? So that's why even the worst performances in the original trilogy are better because they're in a real setting.
But again, I think that actually supports what I'm saying, and it's a theme throughout this that we'll get onto later on when we get to Darth Maul. But I think it's I think it's generally a style over substance throughout this film for me.
Yeah, I do think that
We've got loads of images to get through. Sorry, Lummy. I know you
Right,
spent ages. You spent ages all week getting these images together.
Let's keep going. Right. So we'll just go through the film, basically. Right. So they take on the battle droids, try and get through the main door, the car. So they decide to hitch a ride on the ships down to Naboo, the planet where Queen Amidala is.
But that's because they realise that those droids are being sent to invade. They're not there to solve the problem. They're there to start a war.
And that's when we meet our friend Jar Jar Binks.
Now, if you look at that as a still, I can see what it means about the CGI. It doesn't look that bad, but when you're watching it, in and it's moving, you can just tell, can't you?
Yeah.
But
So
I mean, it's massive achievement at the time to get it looking that good.
So they go to the city, the Gungan city, down below, swim down, and they ask for help. He says Jar Jar Binks is coming along with them because he owes them a life debt.
They
life.
saved his life. Yeah.
I mean, what did you think of the Boss Nass and all that down there? That all that.
Again,
Playing it for laughs. It was just cheap laughs all the way through. For me.
Yeah, and even the way it looks, it's like they say, oh, they've got a bunch of producers in a room and said, what do you think Star Wars would look like if it were underwater? And some clever guy went, it looks like this. And it doesn't. To me, it just doesn't, But then, I mean, after that, they get into the submarine, don't they? And they go through the water. Yeah, and that's them popping up in Naboo. But as they're going through the water, they're chased by all these just ginormous fish. And there's some terrible dialogue in it. There's always a bigger fish.
There's always a bigger fish. Yeah.
What? All right. What? At
least it's not a mama joke.
Yeah. I find honestly, I don't want to put you in a position where you feel like you've got to defend this film, Lummy, because you can't. You can't defend it. It's not your fault. I'm
not trying to defend it. I'm just looking at it like we did. We said we would.
What I'm going to say is I'm going to try my best to do what I said I was going to do originally. And from now on, I'm going to try and only say positive things about this film.
Let's keep going then. So they go to save the Queen and everybody. There they are jumping off the building.
I love the vines. I love the vines on the building.
Oh, it looks beautiful. Beautiful set. Right, and then so they get to the hangar basically. They dispatch a few more battle droids, and then now this is a bit I love in it. This is a bit I love. See what you think. This bit.
Yeah.
The droids going out to repair the ship. It's something we've not seen before in Star Wars. It's pretty cool. They're all getting blasted away as well. There's no mercy. And then R2 saves the day.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah, don't mind that.
Because Nath, the other day you said there's nothing redeeming about this film. Now, I would argue there's a few good ideas.
Well, I've got a couple of things that are.
Yeah.
if you feel so inclined. That bit is the kind of bit that I feel people would have gone, well, how can that happen? Robots on a spaceship in space. Well, I'm thinking surely they've got like magnetic.
Yeah, electromagnetized.
You know what I mean? So, I didn't have a problem with that. That's quite a cute bit. In fact, R2 in this movie is not that bad.
That's great. Yeah. And naked C-3PO as well.
That's the thing. It's so close. You know what I mean? It's almost so close to find out where C-3PO came from and where R2D and where they've been on this journey. To learn that these are the guys that are carrying this whole story through. It's brilliant. So
I like the story of it. I actually like the politics of what's going on. It's just all of the cheap laughs and cheap jokes and all of the. I just think it undermines that what is essentially a good story within the canon.
What I just said about actors and green screen, right? It applies to everybody apart from one person. This is one of my pros. The first pro I've got written down on here is Qui-Gon Jinn does a decent job in this movie. He's the best actor in it. You can't tell he's on a green screen. He's perfectly plausible and composed all the way through. When it gets to his fight scenes, you actually believe he can kick some butt. I know he dies, but you believe it. He's got a Jedi-ness about him. As opposed to Obi-Wan, which I know they're trying to get him to be this young, spunky, like up-and-coming Jedi guy, the Padawan, but there's an element of arrogance and cockiness about him, and it carries through the Jedis in the first trilogy. They're kind of arseholes, some of them.
Yeah. And I like that relationship, actually, as a positive. I like the relationship, and I like what they've done with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. The fact that Qui-Gon would never... Yeah, we'll get to that scene.
I'm sure, I think originally they didn't have Qui-Gon in it. It was just Obi-Wan.
Really?
and he was going to do all this stuff. And I think in the original, even they got to the storyboard stage, and I'm sure this were in a book or something or a documentary, and they had Obi-Wan on the storyboards going into Tatooine and meeting Anakin and everything. So I think they put him in for a bit of gravitas to it, and it works. It does.
Do you know the lineage of it? Do you know why? Like who's doing what? Because so Qui-Gon Jinn was trained by Yoda.
Mm-hmm.
Yoda originally trained Obi-Wan, but he was passed on to Qui-Gon Jinn as his Padawan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure why.
Yoda trained all the kids, don't he? Because we find out in episode 2.
Yeah.
So
okay,
they all go with the master then.
But no, I do enjoy their relationship. I like the fact that Qui-Gon is this sort of slightly not renegade Jedi, but he doesn't conform to all of the ways, or to that is slightly less sort of respected. And I like the fact that then Obi-Wan does become this sort of outsider of the Jedi way, as throughout all the other films. I do quite like that. That stands up.
Interesting thing that I learned about this movie doing a bit of research was a little bit more about that, what you just said about Qui-Gon Jinn and stuff. Yeah, he's a renegade, but the thing is they never go into depth because he's only in one movie. They never really explain why he's there, what he's doing, and why he is who he is. Qui-Gon Jinn was actually, according to the canon, one of the most powerful Jedis that ever came. He had the force of sight. He could see the future. He could see premonitions. And this brings us to the point with the reason that fight between Darth Maul and Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon at the end is massively important to the entire story of Star Wars. And it's because Qui-Gon Jinn has a realization in the middle of the battle that he has to die. He has to die because he's not got the power. He hasn't got the right. He's not the right person to train Anakin. Obi-Wan is, and he sees all this. But you never see it on screen, but he sees all this. He sees that he's the one who has to die. Obi-Wan has to experience that pain of loss, losing his master, to make him more careful when he's around Anakin, because Anakin's always going to be on the knife edge. He's the chosen one.
I've got more to say about that. I've got more to say about that.
I've got loads more to say about that.
But look, keeping an eye on the time. Let's flick through some more.
Let's keep going. Right. So so after the R2 saves the ship, they have to land on Tatooine. They go to look for a hyperdrive replacement because it's knackered. Can't get to Coruscant or Coruscant.
Can I just point out that your screenshot there is like, when you pause your video and you come back in and everybody's got their eyes closed. Even Jar Jar's got his eyes closed.
I tried to pause it where I could, where their eyes were closed. So they go, they meet Anakin in here. They go to the junkyard, try and get a thing off this Watto guy. He takes him outside, says, "Yeah, mind trick won't work on me." All that business.
Your mind trick won't work on me. Do it. Do it.
Go on, Lummy, do your impression.
I'm a Toydarian. You just did it. We're good, that. I'm a Toydarian. My tricks don't work on me. Only money. You think you're some kind of Jedi waving your hand around? There you go.
That's good.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Which I quite like the character. I quite like him. I think.
It is a good character. You're right.
Different species, not seen it before. Then we meet little Anakin and Padme's talking to him.
Oh man, this kid is so annoying.
Yeah,
it's just, it's when you're given a small, it's like the Harry Potter films, but for some reason it just didn't, because there's so many kids in the Harry Potter film, the first few Harry Potter films acting quite badly, it kind of, they blend in with each other, but because you've got some big hitters and some good actors in this film, this kid just sticks out like a sore thumb.
But again, you're talking how much experience has this kid A got at acting and B got at acting against the frigging green screen? Because that ain't easy for anybody.
Get it. But that's something you have to consider when you're throwing millions at a film.
I'll tell you that
there's so much to do.
The documentary I mentioned earlier, the hour-long thing, episode 1. The choosing between him and another kid, and all the production people go for this other kid and say he'd be perfect. And I think Lucas picked
Lucas.
Yeah, do you know who it was? Who was the kid? Was he somebody famous?
No, it was an unknown, I think, at the time. But that documentary, if you watch it, is worth. As an
actor, Star Wars has the power to ruin lives, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even Obi-Wan, even Alec Guinness, technically, he's only really in the first film. Pops in a few as a Force ghost. But he detested the movie Like, it didn't ruin his life. He was such a respected actor. But people like Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen, Ahmed Best, all these people who were ridiculed. What's she called? Kelly Marie Tran.
Yeah.
If the Star Wars audience doesn't like a character, they can't just leave you alone. They've got to ruin your life. And I think that sucks. And that's where I think being a geek is a bit, bit of a shit thing sometimes.
Yeah,
I mean, you have to look at a lot of this stuff and think the pressure on these people in these films, though, to deliver, and even Lucas when he were doing it. I mean, the Star Wars fan base is so intense, isn't it? We know this. That nobody's going to get an even break. If you were in a Star Wars film tomorrow, they'd either love you or hate you, like you just said, and they decide, really, don't they? You've had it if and they do go, oh no, we're not mean to the actors or anything, but they get the brunt of it, don't they? Unfortunately.
What
you see all the time.
I've got a question for you guys, and I was wondering whether to bring it to the table this week, but I think, what a tease! I'm actually gonna bring it once we've done all 9 films, because it is kind of about that very subject and how much right the Star Wars fans have. Okay, we'll get to it in 9 weeks' time.
I'll tell you what, man. If you wanna have any say in what they do with Star Wars, you do what some fans did, and you go to fucking Hollywood, and you keep going to Hollywood until you break through, like Dave Filoni did, and you get the respect to write Star Wars. That's what a true Star Wars fan does. If you really care that much, get off your ass and go write something. That's what some people have done. It's been proven. So to me, that's not an excuse that you can't, armchair directing. Some people have actually gone and done it. So that's what you do if you care.
Because I think we're about 5 minutes into the film at this point, aren't we?
No, we're all right.
We're not going through the whole film. We don't have to go through the whole film.
Okay, right. Here we go. So they go back to Anakin's house and C-3PO. Now, I think I liked this scene with C-3PO, how he was built and everything. I don't know whether it should have been Anakin who built him. I think that's a bit too, he'd know he wore it later on.
Yeah, exactly.
But I also think they made a massive mistake by not having C-3PO in the entire film with R2 from the get-go. I think it'd have been good to have him, because they're supposed to be the storytellers. This now, you don't see C-3PO again until halfway or maybe near the end of the second film. After he's been at the...
However, though, they have this is the first film, and they've technically just met, so it does start. That's where the story starts from.
Yeah.
So if you watch A New Hope, they're already friends. They've got some history there.
Well, they're supposed to. They were supposed to narrate the entire thing, weren't they? So it's like, why R2 doesn't show up until, like we just said, there on the ship. So you think, well, it's not massive. It's just interesting that they put him there and left him.
I think your comment about him, being it's like this naked 3PO and whether Anakin built him trumps my comment, because what I've written is naked 3PO, kind of interesting, but is it? Because I'm myself, is it really interesting? Like that he built? It's just shoehorning something in there that you didn't need to know. But yeah, when does he get his skin?
Second one.
Did they put it on him?
Padme puts it on him. Yeah.
So everybody in the Star Wars universe has got some sort of skill with a droid.
Everyone's got some skin. Yeah.
Everybody can put stuff on a droid, I guess.
What do you think she was sitting there going, "Oh, 3PO, you're naked. This is so.
I'm embarrassed for you."
Oh God. I don't know.
How tiny your wiring is.
Then right, okay, let's keep going. So then they sit around the table and we learn a few things about what's going on. They talk about pod racing and now they need the money for the thing. And he says you must have Jedi reflexes and how were he born and all that business.
I could smell his midi-chlorians.
Yeah, that's a bit there anyway. Then we cut back to first look at Coruscant, I think, and Darth Maul comes in and he says, "I'm going to go to Tatooine. Last rule: reveal ourselves to the Jedi." All that business. So bit of the history, bit of the Jedi.
Oh God, I can't wait to tell you what I learned about the history of this. It was really
okay,
cool.
but I've got carry on me because I think that's going to be quite a detailed conversation. Go on.
That's later on.
I'll keep it as quick.
Then we see Anakin and his mates. Now, I mean, that costume there for me, that one of the little Greedo, that just looks awful. When I watched it back, I was like, oh God. It's like,
But I
Why
don't know if
didn't
you noticed Warwick Davis later on
Yeah,
in,
Well,
in
well,
a crowd scene.
that's
And it's just
Warwick
like-
Davis as well. That's Warwick
Yeah.
Davis playing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
you could
But there's
tell.
a scene where there's a scene with Warwick Davis, and it's just like,
You could tell.
why
it's
are
Warwick.
you in that scene? Like, you're offering nothing to the scene. Why?
He's
have you
just
got-
standing there, isn't he, cheering the pod race? Elsewhere we
I'll
get
tell
into
you, I'll
it,
tell you. They did make some good decisions because they cut a scene out with little Greedo in it. Do you know this?
No.
Did
Right,
little
there's a
Greedo
scene-
have to shoot little Han?
No,
first?
they were having a
No,
scrap
he
in
was
the-
naked.
They were having a fight in the street, little Greedo. I don't know if it was with Anakin or somebody, and then somebody goes, "You'll come to a bad end, you Greedo, if you carry on like that." And you're like, "Oh,
Oh, really? Oh,
so this
God.
film could have been a hell of a lot worse." You know what I mean?
Wow.
So we'll do the ultra suck cut and put it all back in.
Okay, so what's up next?
Right, next he phones in his midichlorian count. He says this is the first time that the fans
It's
went
off the
nuts.
charts.
Yeah, Master, over 20,000, Master. You know, all that business. Even Master Yoda doesn't have that many. Yeah, all that business. Then we see the pod race.
He looks ridiculous.
Yeah, it looks
The
awful.
helmet and the goggles. There's one point, and I
Yeah.
get it. He is flying around and stuff, but it's just when it's all skew-whiff on his face, and I'm just like,
Not just that, it's just every few minutes George Lucas makes him go. He goes, "Right, kid, can you go yippee now, please?"
Yeah,
We want you to say yippee. And he's always going, "Woohoo! Yippee!" You're like, "Oh, piss off."
when Qui-Gon lifts him up to put him in there, and he goes, "Whoa!"
Or where he goes, "No, now this is pod racing."
That's later. That's later.
Ew, I don't care, Lummy. It's awful.
Always jump in
Now,
the
I
gun.
wanted to ask about this.
I
Lady
like this image. I
Lady
like
Hook.
this. Yeah, I like.
I want to know. I want a series about her. What happened to Lady Hook? Do you think she got thrown to the Rancor monster, or he got bored, or she just died of natural causes, or what?
She's just one of
Lady
his many
Hook.
huts that he likes to hut about with.
Yeah, he likes to hut it about.
Yeah, a lot. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know whether that was okay. I thought Jabba coming in. Why not? They're on Tatooine.
Did you? I got a little factoid for you. You know this commentator with two heads. One head
Oh,
speaks
it's
English,
Greg-
and the other one. Yeah. I just wondered if you guys knew that. From whose line is it anyway?
Yeah. Right. So you see the pod race. I've only got one still from that because it goes on. I mean,
I actually quite enjoyed the pod race. It was all right.
I like it. I thought it was a new idea, interesting.
I liked it.
Like the old chariot races. I think this is one good thing about what he does. He takes something that a lot of people know and he puts a bit of a twist on it. And the stuff like this to me was good. And when I first saw it at the time, I thought this is all right. But then when they brought it out, they added an extra lap to it when they brought it out on DVD. That's even
Is
longer.
that why we're thinking it was so bloody long? Because I didn't mind it, but it was too long.
Yeah.
3 laps, right?
15 minutes too long.
3 laps. I think in the original version it were like 2 laps, if not.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Do you know the bit where the thing flies off and he has to get the metal bar and pull it back in? I don't think that was in the original version.
Yeah, that bit is a bit shit.
But there's too many.
I'll bring it back.
As a race, there's too many unbelievable bits in this race for it to be good for me. For example, when he starts and his pod racer doesn't start, everybody else sets off apart from that other guy. There's 2 of them. The machines don't work, and he spends about 15 seconds fixing his machine, and then immediately catches up to everybody. And like, if your pod racer's that fast, you did shit all over him. No?
Yeah, exactly that.
So
what's up with the pod race?
So after the pod race, he wins obviously the pod race. Then Qui-Gon made a deal with him to be saved. So they go and say bye. He says bye to his mum. And then
will I never see you again?
Yeah,
What does your
all that
heart
business.
say?
Yes, no,
until the
maybe.
sequel.
I don't know.
Then we have a bit of a battle with Maul in the desert.
Okay, so I'm gonna say what I wanted to say now. Darth Maul is shit. It's a shit concept for a character, and in this particular, you can see what they've done. Look, Ray Parks. Is it Ray Parks?
Yeah.
Ray Park.
Amazing
Ray Parker Jr.
Ray, amazing martial artist, really, really good, but he's not an actor. And what they've done is they've built this concept of having this guy with a double-ended lightsaber who can do kick-ass martial arts stuff, and they've built everything around that. And as a fight director, I would much rather see a few simple moves done brilliantly than fighting for the sake of fighting, and it undermines the entire story in this. I remember seeing an interview with him where he was that scene where, and I know it's coming up later on, the scene where Qui-Gon gets killed and he's pacing up and down behind the sort of force field thing, and he was like, oh yeah, I was told to pace up and down like a tiger. And I'm like, great, brilliant. Whereas you're not approaching this from the point of view of an actor. It's like acting by numbers, and it comes across in the performance throughout the whole film. So you take something like The Mandalorian that we talked about 2 weeks ago, the last episode, the fight between Mando and is it Moff Gideon?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Amazing fight, really good fight, short fight with some really lovely technical devices, but it's a few simple moves done really, really well, and that is the story device. Whereas this, it's that thing that I was saying right from the start. It's just style over substance, and it ruins it for me. Ruins it. I don't find Darth Maul scary. I don't find he's like Darth Vader scared the shit out of me when I was a kid because everything he did was simple. And
I think that the problem is with Darth Maul is that you've got an example of what could be a really good. I'm just going to talk about what I was going to tell you about. So I learned about this thing called the Saga of Darth Maul, which explains why he's a really good character. I wasn't expecting you to say that. I do agree. I think that the acting performance is pretty shoddy. Fighting looks great.
No, it doesn't.
Clearly,
the fighting's it's appalling. It looks pretty, but it doesn't tell a story. The only bit that tells a story in that whole fight, because like you said yourself, the bit that they were trying to do with Qui-Gon, that doesn't carry in the film. I'd have loved if it did. The only bit that does work, the only bit that does work-ish is where Obi-Wan flips up and takes Qui-Gon's lightsaber, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to kill Darth Maul, because you set him up as this guy that can't be killed at all. So you could, with that sort of the trick of using the weapon that he didn't realize he had. That's the only bit in any of that fight that stands up.
Now, Darth Maul is a problematic character because in the canon he exists, but in the movies he only exists in Phantom Menace and Solo. Spoiler alerts. Anyway, now the plan for Darth Maul since the Clone Wars cartoon came out is actually pretty ambitious. So I don't know if you guys know this. Maybe I alluded to some of it. I told you a little bit of it. Darth Maul is from a planet called Dathomir. He's a Zabrakian, right? So they have those characters with the horns and the heads that do appear in the games, and I think there's a couple in The Mandalorian and stuff like that. But basically, his mum was an ally to Darth Sidious when he was a kid. And when Darth Sidious took Darth Maul away from his mum, because he'd promised his mum that he was going to be her apprentice. She was going to be his apprentice. And he reneged on his deal, saw the force potential in Darth Maul and took him away and trained him up. He fueled his hatred and he found his way to the dark side quite naturally and quite easily with a little bit of pushing. So he then becomes a really, really foreboding warrior. This is before the Phantom Menace, just before the Phantom Menace. And it's still very secretive. Nobody knows who this Darth Maul is. You're talking about that point where the Sith are still hidden, aren't you? You know what I mean? Like I said, we can finally reveal ourselves. So now what's interesting about it is after he slays Qui-Gon Jinn in the battle, he's chopped in half by Obi-Wan. And we assume in the canon of the movies,
done. That's
it. That's the end of it, right? But that's not the case. What actually happens in canon is that once he falls down the bottom of the shaft, his bits are picked up by robots, by Palpatine, the same way as Anakin's were on Mustafar when he got chopped to bits. His body is rescued, but he's absolutely fucked. He's chopped in half, and it takes 10 years for them to for him to come back from this, right? So he's been healing. He's had the droid legs all fitted to his body and everything. I think in some incarnations they're actually like spider legs underneath him. It's weird. But anyway, he's absolutely fueled by hatred for Darth Sidious because he learns that Darth Sidious, while he was poorly, Darth Sidious took on another apprentice, Darth Tyrannus, Count Dooku, yeah? So he's pissed off with Darth Sidious and chasing them around, but also absolutely wants to kill Obi-Wan. So after the events of the Clone Wars end and Obi-Wan gets given Luke to take to Tatooine, we now know Luke is the chosen one, not Anakin, right? You got to remember that. Darth Maul spends a great deal of time tracking him down. Lots of other things happen. Darth Maul is the guy who took over Mandalore, as in the cartoon, as in what we just saw in The Mandalorian. He was the guy who he started a group, and they took over Mandalore. They messed them up. They messed up all the Mandalorians, and he lived on Mandalore for quite some time. Anyway, this is all in the journey as he's trying to come back to find Obi-Wan. He ends up on Tatooine, and this is what sounds really cool. This could happen, and this is why I'm telling you about it. This could all lead into this Obi-Wan. Darth Maul could pop up in whatever they want now. We know he's alive, right? So after he gets overthrown on Mandalore, he witnesses the events of Order 66, and Maul does an Ahsoka and abandons his title and abandons the Sith in anger at Darth Sidious, and he becomes his own entity, starts his own group. He takes his own brother on as his apprentice. And basically, he tracks down Obi-Wan to Tatooine, where he learns Obi-Wan is looking after the Chosen One from afar. But their last lightsaber duel ends with Kenobi striking Maul down, right? Kills him. As he's lying dying in Obi-Wan's arms, the saddest part of his story is the only solace he's got is knowing that Kenobi will be instrumental in bringing down Palpatine. He's not going to do it himself, but he's part of the story. And he realizes that in his dying moments, and that's the only bit of solace he gets from the whole saga. And he dies in Obi-Wan's arms, and Obi-Wan builds a shrine to him on Tatooine because they figured stuff out in that last moment.
So the best thing about Darth Maul was written after The Phantom Menace.
Possibly, I'm not sure when it was written, but what it does come into mind. So right now, everybody's talking about the fact that Hayden Christensen's coming back as Darth Vader, right? We've all spotted that one coming. Oh my God, we're going to see a fat butt. Don't discount Darth Maul popping up at any moment.
Butt. Did you say we're going to see a fat butt?
No, so we're going to see a fight, but don't discount the fact that Darth Maul could pop up. So that's what I was trying to say. I learned all this the other day after doing a bit. I'm like, so what happened to Darth Maul? Why do I keep hearing and seeing in pictures? I've seen a picture of him in the Clone Wars cartoon fighting like a 50-year-old Obi-Wan, and he's got robot legs. So I was like, right, I got to figure this out, because if all that stuff's becoming canon now, I kind of need to be a bit informed about it so that we can talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of saga of Darth Maul. There's a lot more to it, but
I like how you refer to him being cut in half as being poorly.
He's a bit poorly.
Well, what doctors treating him? Look a bit poorly. You.
I've heard it does do that to you. Yeah, it reminds me. Yeah, it's like in Monty Python.
Yeah.
It's just a little room. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe they decided to do this with Darth Maul after Revenge of the Sith, because once you saw how it happened to Darth Vader, if you watch that fight scene again on the third, I know we're on the third film now, but when you see how many bits he's got missing, I mean, yeah, it must be a case of lightsabers cauterize a wound as soon as
I did wonder that. Yeah.
Because he's in bits, isn't he? He's literally in bits. I'd watched it the other week. He's got
pretty upset.
It was in bits very poorly.
Very poorly.
Really poorly.
No arm.
He was under the wet. He was feeling a bit peaky.
Yeah.
So yeah, that seems to be what Palpatine does. He sets people up to fight really hard people, and then he just sends in a bunch of medic droids to fix them up. But yeah, in Darth Maul's case, it said it took him 10 years and a Bacta tank to get back to normal.
Wow.
So yeah,
back to tanks.
Yeah, back
to the future. No, it was really poorly.
So they've had that big fight, and Qui-Gon's jumped onto the ship. They've taken the ship off. Qui-Gon's jumped on to make an escape away from Darth Maul in our sort of first fight introduction to him.
And we get the introduction of Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi, a bit of a moment, you know. Qui-Gon yawning, apparently.
Another interesting bit, when they first meet, Obi-Wan refers to Anakin as just another annoying Jar Jar species. It's like, why have we got to put up with this guy as well? And then you're like, yeah, too right, man. Go back when he's 13 or 14 or something. He's so annoying as a kid. But yeah, even Obi-Wan's like, oh, another annoying life form. Comparing him to Jar Jar Binks, I think they sealed his fate.
So let's carry on.
Yeah, they go to Coruscant or Coruscant, whatever the hell you say. That's not the Jedi Temple shot, it's just the planet. Then they go to the Jedi Temple. Let's say about the found Anakin, he could be the chosen one. They all have a bit of a talk. They've updated the CGI Yoda, obviously, because it was a puppet originally. in the theatrical version who looked younger, and it looked pretty bad. So they went back in and fixed that, which is good. Then we have the Senate scene where she votes against Chancellor Valorum, and he gets the top.
It's quite important to mention as well that all that stuff we said about Qui-Gon Jinn earlier on being a bit of a rebel. Do you know why? He's a rebel because he believes the Jedi have lost the way and have become too political. And instead of going out and doing stuff, they sit around in a fucking circle talking about it and they never get anywhere. So he's pissed off with them. But again, they never mentioned this in the film, and it would have been a way better film with a little bit of backstory, you know.
Yeah,
because he just says that, doesn't he? Obi-Wan says, "Don't defy the council again." You know, it's like
that's right.
So yeah.
In fact, that is pretty much your only clue that he is a rebel.
Yeah, go back to the council with Anakin. They say they won't train him, so he says, "Hang on, we'll try and sort something out." Then they go back. The Queen decides to go back to Naboo, so they go team up with the Gungans. You find out she was a decoy, the other Queen, which don't really come to any surprise to anybody apart from Anakin, who goes, "What?" Like that.
That was surprising as finding out that Palpatine's not a goodie. You know what I mean? At this point, you have to be a moron to watch Return of the Jedi and then put that first film on. You'd be like, "Oh, that's exactly the same guy." But but we all know that anyway, don't we? Then it goes. Then this is where it starts getting a bit chaotic because you end up with 4 different storylines going on here.
Yeah.
So you've got. So that's the first one, the big battle on the open plains.
And again, Jar Jar Binks is just awful they're just having slapstick for the sake of slapstick. And it just basically it just destroys any tension you have in the fight.
Whenever he jokingly does a stupid joke and accidentally destroys half an army, it's always painful, isn't it? Like he accidentally succeeds.
Right, let me just do this. Right, I just want to tell you the 4 different storylines that's going on at this point in the film. You've got the battlefield we just said about there. You've got the hangar and the palace takedown. You've also got where you've got Anakin going on the ship up into space to destroy the control ship, and you've got the fight with Qui-Gon and Maul and Obi-Wan. So that's 4 separate storylines you've got to keep track of. And this is why I think the film gets so disjointed and chaotic, because you've got to end all those storylines. And there's no way of doing that's easy and it doesn't become a mess.
Right. Despite what Gittins said earlier on about the choreography not being up to speed and the acting not being great, the end fight, when you apply the story that you don't know about, because they just forgot to tell you all this interesting shit's actually going on with Qui-Gon Jinn and Obi-Wan and who's going to be the best person to help Anakin not turn to the dark side in the future. They don't mention any of that, but I just wanted to mention a good thing. So that's one of my pros. The end fight sequence is great, but what makes it even better is the score. But there's nothing wrong with the score.
Okay, so that was going to be my only bit. Okay, so the end fight sequence.
The entire film score is beautiful. It's very Star Warsy. It's got its own little signature tunes and stuff for different characters, but I think it's lovely.
So that's it. So the end fight sequence doesn't stand up at all for me because it just doesn't tell a story. It's pretty and it's impressive what the guy can do, but it doesn't tell a story. However, the Duel of the Fates score is phenomenal, and I'd have loved to have seen a better, more in a fight to that score, because it is a wonderful score. It's brilliant.
Again, another clue to what's actually going on in the story that you don't know about is the title of the music.
Duel of the Fates. Yeah.
Talking about the fate of Anakin Skywalker. Talking about the result of this fight is going to make all the difference. You know. So it's really annoying that all that stuff's out there, but it's not actually in the.
That's the thing. There's a story, but they just chose not to tell it.
Talking of the soundtrack, one of the most annoying things ever when they released the soundtrack to the film. It came out 2 weeks before the film, and one of the tracks was called Qui-Gon's Demise.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or Qui-Gon's Funeral, or whatever that was called. You're like, what?
What kind of lunatic thinks I need 2 weeks to listen to this music before I see the film? See the film first.
Love me.
Why did they release it 2 weeks
Sorry,
early?
Just there's something I did forget to mention talking about sounds was this film is littered with fart noises.
Yeah.
Fart noises for the sake of fart noises, and I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sake, guys. Sorry, carry on.
Especially that one where Qui-Gon dies.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got a shot of that. Wait a minute. Look.
Oh, I think I've just followed through.
Oops.
That's a wet fart face, that, isn't it? He's not sure of what's happening.
I did chuckle when I grabbed that.
Awesome.
Right, so after the fight, Qui-Gon gets killed, as we know, and then we cut to Anakin, who decides that spinning's a good trick, and then he gets inside the control ship and fires a blast that destroys it completely.
Exactly, but it's another accident. What does this button do? Oops! Whoops! Whoopsie! Yippee! Oh, fuck off, man.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think? Here's a question for you. Do you think it'd have been better if you used the Force, maybe, or do you think it was too early? Do you think if you'd have had a bit of a, I know what to do?
I don't think they needed that whole bit with him in space.
Him accidentally
learning how to fly a ship he's never been in, and shooting from that ship, and accidentally blowing. It's just too many accidents. It's too much bullshit for me to swallow.
I mean, it's an accident waiting to happen, that kid, isn't it? Really.
This is pod racing.
I think, like I said, the end, it just gets so, so much going on, and then also that takes out all the battle things. So you think, well, there's no point really in them. Why did they bother all putting their army to use?
Why accidentally won the war? Was it all an accident?
Yeah. And then I've got you a still of Darth Maul in half because I knew you wanted to talk about it.
Jeez, that doesn't actually look that good, does it? As a piece of,
it looks good in the actual film when it happens when he falls down.
Yeah, that looks
terrible.
Yeah,
a bit like in Temple of Doom when they're falling down into the crocodiles, into the alligators over the rope bridge. Some of that looks terrible when you watch it back now.
So then he gets to him, grabs him, and he says, "You must train Anakin, train him up." And he goes, "Yes, master. The boy is dangerous. They all sense it. Why can't you?" It's me. Obi-Wan for you.
Nice.
Sound a bit pissy, like a pissy Obi-Wan. Why can't you?
His best mate just.
That's what he says. That's what he says, isn't it?
You know what he should say then? He should say, "I'm dying, kid. Can you cut me some fucking slack?" It's gonna be the last thing you ever say to me. Why are you having a go at me?
Boy, Anakin, train him.
Somebody's got to train him. I'm dead.
Then
not now, Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan goes to Yoda. He says, "I'm going to train him." He makes him a Jedi Knight, doesn't he? He says, "You're a Jedi." But
I think he looks like he's saying to him there, "Your rat's tail and your little are a disgrace on this Jedi Order. Grow your hair and then we'll talk about your training."
Yeah. So he says that, and then they have a big celebration on Naboo, and they're all there, and they hold a big glowing orb up, which is actually an explosive device, if you think about it.
Yeah, what's really funny about that, if you go back to that picture, it's the end of the movie, and they've kind of won, but Obi-Wan looks a bit more pissed off than Palpatine on that one. Palpatine really smiling. He's like, "Yeah, party time."
Yeah.
And can we acknowledge the fact that they've got matching haircuts for Anakin and Obi-Wan as well?
I hate that.
Oh my god, it's awful.
That. Yeah, it's
bad. And did you know the theme at the end, that all that, is actually a major key version of Palpatine's Emperor's theme. Yes, they've transposed it from major to minor, minor to major. But if you lay it side by side, it's the same chord. Yeah,
and if you play it backwards, it says Vader is coming.
Yeah,
that would be amazing if it did that. That would be brilliant.
But weirdly, it's in Beatles voices. Vader's coming. Vader is coming. He's on his way. And then there you go.
Whoa, spoiler.
Anything at the end of the credits?
There's Vader's.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay, so having rewatched the film, when was the last time you saw the film before you watched it this week, Lummy?
Oh, quite a good while. There were some bits I'd actually forgotten
Couple
about.
of
Really.
days.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 3 days. I mean, you know. I'll tell you, I know. Hang on, I know exactly when I saw the last one. I went to see the 3D version when it came out of the cinema. They actually released it in 3D, and I went to see it. Yeah,
What did the 3D look like?
it was good. Yeah, it was good.
Okay.
Same film, but in 3D.
See, I don't think that post-production 3D ever works great.
Yeah,
me.
it wasn't bad. It were all right. It were all right.
When was the last time you saw the film before this week now?
Me, I actually watched it a few weeks ago because we're doing a lot of drawing on my iPad and I wanted some background stuff to watch, and I decided it wasn't a film that I wanted to concentrate on too much. I'm going to stick it on in the background and feel like I'd watched it again. But on rewatching it again, I skipped so much of it. Honestly, it was on and I definitely watched it because it started and the end credits roll, but I don't remember, because otherwise I would have been just as annoyed as I am now about having to rewatch it. But yeah, I watched all 3 like that, so I'm going to have to watch all of them again, so I wasn't paying any attention. I was drawing.
Okay, so the last time I watched that film must have been 15 years ago.
Wow.
I'd say it was a long. Well, because I
In a galaxy far, far away.
In a long, yeah. Because I didn't enjoy it the first time.
Can each of us suggest a couple of things that would fix this film then?
Oh,
what would fix it?
For me, it is the whole concept of Darth Maul. So lose all the martial arts stuff, make him or have the martial arts stuff. That's fine, but meet out the character. Have an actor playing that role.
Some of the storyline of it, yeah.
And then all of that other stuff, all the stuff about Qui-Gon and all of that sort of stuff, actual storytelling, and get rid of anything that has been purposefully shoehorned in there for a younger audience. Look, Star Wars, and I think Pop Not Broth actually made a comment on me earlier on, and it's a really relevant comment, actually.
This one here.
Yeah, I think what comes out about the worst side of Star Wars fan base that they've forgotten these are kids' films, and they saw the first ones when they were kids, and I was 40-somethings. They can't let another generation have a go, and I think there's an element of that. I think
I agree, but also I saw this film 20 years ago, and I still hated it then, and I'm only 40, and 41, so I must have been 20.
But you saw Star Wars when you were a kid, and that's where the nostalgia thing comes from. That's why you take it more personally. That's why you take it more personally.
Yeah, when we've had discussions between us about it, I've often stuck up for that point and said, we're not kids anymore. They're not making them for us.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. The other ones are balanced. There is stuff in the kids in there for the kids in the original trilogy. It's just a bit more balanced out. And I think they went a bit overkill with it. But anyway, that's not how
I just think it undermines the integrity of the story. And then when you forget to include fundamental elements of that story, then I'm just like, oh, what's the point? So for me, it would be to reintroduce those elements of the story and just to have Darth Maul less concepty and more of a character with a storyline.
Okay. Personally, I think 1,000,000% less CGI, much more real sets, real things for people to work with. If you can get through an entire film watching a character like Qui-Gon Jinn and still not know who the hell he is or why you should care about him by the end of the film, you've fucked up, because he's actually a really interesting character is what I learned. Do you know what I mean? And his backstory is really interesting and why he's doing things a certain way. So if you explained again with Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn a little bit more about why we're supposed to care about who they are, it would make a better movie. The trade dispute thing's fine. It's always had concepts like that. It's just a bit over the head of your average 9-year-old, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they do touch on stuff like that in episode 4 and things, but it's so quick. They don't really dwell on it. And I think it got a little bit bogged down in it, this, to try and explain too much. When, like you said, Nath, they could have spent that time with some of the characters maybe and fleshed them out a bit. So you do know, as soon as Qui-Gon comes on, you know more about him than... Because after all, this is episode 1, isn't it? It's not like episode 4.
Is it just a misunderstanding of what paying lip service to fans means? Because to George Lucas, it means give them as much Star Warsy looking shiny stuff as you can, throw a load of CGI in there. But for me, it means flesh out your story that people have invested in, that people love, flesh it out, make it better, build it up, and then you can, even if it's a crap film, you can't accuse it. That's, again, take everything away from this film. The story, like Rich said earlier on, It's a great story, and it actually leads someone. It has to be there for Darth Vader's arc. You know, it has to be there.
Yeah.
But I just think they.
I think it is. I think you're right. I think there's too much flashy stuff going on all the time in a lot of it, and it's too. That, like I just said there, the end battle is so complicated. All those 4 things going. You didn't need it. You didn't need them
And
all.
I tell you what, this pales in comparison to the next 2 that we're obviously going to talk about in the future. It pales in comparison because they are even more overkill with the CGI almost every frame. If you think about Attack of the Clones, it's real bad for the CGI. Even stuff that's easy to make look real, like having a stormtrooper standing next to another character. It's supposed to just look like 2 dudes in a suit.
I think what I'd have done with this one, I'd have got rid of Jar Jar. Got rid of all, or even kept Jar Jar in if you need to, but get rid of all the silly little jokes. Really,
writing better. The writing, that's what this film.
And or do what I said earlier about get C-3PO and R2 front and center right from the beginning, and just have them in it all the way through it, and have them as the comic relief, because that's what they were there for originally, and it worked.
I think what you're saying, Lummy, about trying to throw too much flashy shit at the fans and Nathan, and not really knowing not paying any fan service. I think they have learnt they've learnt the hard way through the prequels, and then through the last 3 films. But actually, I think what we've seen, and I know some diehard Star Wars fans who hated how much love The Mandalorian got, but actually, I think they've really learnt how to treat the Star Wars fans.
Now, I mean, perfectly.
Look what they did in Mandalorian. That was brilliant.
I mean, we ain't children. I know why that is. They realised that, they're still getting Star Wars dollars out of people's pockets to go see movies, but they're pissing people off all the time. So they had to find a way of compromising. They tried it with the first 3 films, the latest 3, sorry. But I mean, for me, it's still down to that fundamental thing. If you're taking me out of a world that's supposed to be Star Wars with things like Attack of the Clones is the worst culprit for me. They're going to a nightclub in there and somebody tries to sell them cigarettes. They go to a fucking diner. It's awful. Whenever you take it into a scenario like it is on Earth, it doesn't work if you're taking me out of that Star Wars reality you know what I mean, you've created.
Mm-hmm.
And
we'll talk about that when we get on Attack of the Clones.
Absolutely.
But I can't stress enough though how much pressure these people must be under to deliver this stuff, because when you think about it, if you had to go from 4, 5, and 6 to go back and write the first episode, knowing you've got to make a hit movie and there's another 2 episodes to go with it, I mean, it's not easy, that is it?
But now what they seem to have done is given a select few people an opportunity to ruin Star Wars rather than fleshing things out and testing them a bit more. They've given random people an opportunity to just throw it away. So, for instance, if you look at the people who directed the last sequels, J.J. Abrams, from what I hear, most people thought it was pretty much A New Hope, but it was watchable, it was good, it had its merit. And then giving it to another director that's completely unrelated to that and letting them do what they want and then trying to bring that back, they're just pissing around with what I consider to be quite precious property that could be beautifully written and beautifully made. You know what I mean? They still don't know what to do with us, the audience, because we're so divided. You know what I mean? Like you say, some people love The Phantom Menace. I can't talk to those people. They're idiots. But you know what I mean? Everybody's got their opinion. And now we live in a world where you can instantly go online and express that opinion. And for some reason, with Star Wars, like you said, the fans are crazy. The people just like, no, it's Matt. How dare you? That's one thing I will say that I don't do. I'm like, that's what we got given. If you want to write a better film, go fight your way into Hollywood like some of these people.
It's exactly how I felt that we were talking the other week about the reboot of the Ghostbusters film. It's exactly how I felt. I mean, I get what Lucky was saying, that it could have been funnier and, with the people that were in that film and things like that. Yeah, absolutely. Get you. But that backlash that that film received wasn't about that.
Because we're waiting for what this new film is. That's what we wanted. They do it all the time. They made a mistake with that Ghostbusters. They did it anyway. Now it's done. You can't undo it. It's out there. But why don't we make the one that everybody wanted in the first place? And the way you do that is you get people who still give a shit about the movie. So the dude who's directed this movie, Rich, He's the guy who directed the original's son. He's grown up, right? He was on the set of Ghostbusters when he was a kid. You know what I mean?
You know, one of the, you hear stuff all the time, and this delay they've had with the Ghostbusters movie, I think it's done it well. But they've got, for a start, they've got the original music. You know, there's elements of that in the soundtrack and stuff. You know, the original score from the first movie and things like that. So it's going to be a real
soundtrack, actually. That
it's going to be a real, a real fan service.
I've got the advanced copy of the Star Trek. They've got the advanced copy of the soundtrack.
Yeah.
Track number 9, Bill Murray dies.
Yeah,
I would have had it by now.
Beautiful song.
I'd have been listening to that by now.
Yeah, track number 18, Winston overdoses.
Here's one for you. Talking about Ghostbusters then. The soundtrack they brought out, the score version, has got music that replaces all the songs in the movie. So if you actually tracked it over, you'd have music for all the bits what have got songs in.
Ah, interesting.
I kind of drifted away from what you were saying. I was trying to. What did you say?
It's basically saying that if you watch Ghostbusters and play Dark Side of the Moon at the same time.
No, they actually wrote a score for the entire movie, basically, and then Sony came along and went, we want all these chart songs dropping into the film. And that's what they did. So like the montage sequence, for example, with all that going on. I'll tell you, best example is when they go on the first job and it's got Cleaning Up the Town by the Bus Boys.
Little town I know.
Yeah. It fades into this. I know what you mean.
The score music for that bit. So there's this big theme where they're going out doing all that, so you can actually
now
listen to
watch this space, listeners, because in about 7-8 months' time, we're probably going to see this new Ghostbusters, and we might be eating some words. Because we've got a lot of hope riding on this because it's got some attachments to the original. But I have no illusions that they could easily balls it up. They balls stuff up all the time.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even know they're doing it, man.
Well, we haven't talked about, I think 2 of us have seen Wonder Woman 2, haven't we, here?
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Let's talk about that when all of us have seen it.
Yeah, we'll wait.
I will watch it. I will watch it.
Yeah,
okay. So next week we will be taking a little break from the Star Wars universe, just because otherwise we're going to be talking about Star Wars every single week, and there is a plethora of awesome geek material out there for us to watch. So next week we will be rewatching. Hang on. Next week we will be watching.
I know we discussed this before the show, which film we were going to pick next week, but after all this Ghostbusters talk, surely we should just start with one of the best.
I'm up for doing that, to be honest.
What about Ghostbusters, the first?
I know Chris didn't want to mix franchises, but I would love to do Ghostbusters. But
it's not a massive franchise, is it? It's just 2 films.
3.
Well, oh shit, yeah. Is that third one connected to the? How is the third one connected?
It's not because you've got you've got actors that are in it playing different characters, haven't you?
Man, I've only seen that film, and I feel like it's only fair that I give it another go. I might have made really horrible judgments. From what I remember, it wasn't great, but I'm happy to watch it again. But
I'm going to let Lummy be the judge, because I know that Lummy did have issues with us mixing franchises.
It's up to you. I think it might get a bit crazy if we start dropping franchises in every week. But
So what do you think then? You think we should do a franchise movie, and then the next week do a singular geekish movie?
There you go. Question. Message.
True. Yeah, I'm with you, Pop Not Broth. I love Ghostbusters too.
Ghostbusters just suffers a little bit from here's a sequel. Let's throw some sequel tricks in it. But great lines. Bill Murray with that kid when he's acting with
brilliant.
So we need to decide what we're doing, but I don't know.
No, we don't. Let's scrap Ghostbusters. If you don't want to mix franchises, if you don't want to cross the streams,
we might come to a point where we do need to mix franchises, but for now we don't. So next week we will be looking at Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So if you want to have a retrospective watch along with us, why don't you give Ferris Bueller's Day Off a watch this week, and then you can join in the chat. You can join in the chat anyway next week, but it just means you'll have more of an informed opinion. Gentlemen, is there anything else that you would like to discuss before we finish up today? Chris?
I'd just like to say life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you might miss it.
Yeah.
Wow, I did not expect that. That's like
I'd like you all to know that Rich Gittins is so tight that if he shoved a lump of coal up his ass within a week, he'd have a diamond.
Yeah, it's true.
If you want to know what we're talking about and you've never seen Ferris Bueller, what the hell are you watching this shit for? Go watch Ferris Bueller. We'll have little factoids. We'll talk about the amazing soundtrack. There's cameos, jokes, classic writing. It's another John Hughes classic. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So is there anything else that you want to add?
Can we do Flintstones and Automobiles instead?
We'll do Police Academy.
Yeah, but no, that's a franchise. Well, no, Franchise Automobiles will be good for another week. But next week we are going to be doing Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Fastest sentence I've ever heard you ever speak. What? Do you need a wee?
No, Nathan, is there anything that you would like to add?
No, man. I'll see you all next week. It's a blast doing the show. I'm having good fun. It's nice just chatting.
Should we tell him he's not here next week? Oh no.
We are really enjoying creating a community here at It's All Geek to Me. It's great keeping in touch with all of you during the week as well. So please comment down below. If you have missed any of the episodes, you will find an edited version over on our YouTube channel, It's All Geek to Me. Come and find us over on Facebook at It's All Geek to Me. And we can be found over on that there Twitter at It's All Geek Twit. But for now, for me, my name's been Rich, he's been Chris, and he's been Nathan. And we are going to see you. No, you're not. You're not. No, it's plot twist. We are going to see you. We're going to find out who he is next week. For now, It's All Geek to Me. We'll see you next week. Thank you very much. And goodbye.